Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection. We are here for you this morning, your hosts, Minette Lawrence and Percival Palmer, coming to you live from the Best 100 FM studios in rainy Kingston, Jamaica. Saying goodbye to Ian and praying that those whom he's visiting now will treat him just as we treated him. Just push him along. Upgraded to a hurricane this morning, so we understand that weather events can be devastating. We're always thankful when it gives us a pass, although what's happening with the rain now has its own consequences. Still, we welcome you to our program this morning, those who have joined us on air and those who have joined us online. Conrad, welcome. Already putting it to the pastor.
You must stand up for me, right? Good morning,
No,
brother.
I think it's the preacher man. Don't tell us. I feel it's that part. I don't know. Just a thought.
I figure with Peter.
Him say, Bongo Percy, you're here. Bongo Percy is hearing. Good morning to those in studio. You're all looking kind of coldish, but thank God you're here, and we expect to have a wonderful day.
And we declare it. We command our morning this morning. Hallelujah. So Bunga Percy is on the line. Is who gave me that name?
Ras Kremlin.
Ras Kremlin.
Yeah.
It's kind of stuck. As now it is. I go all over the place and people saying, yeah, Bunga Percy. And so they just say me like how Loyal would say it today. Loyal, the engineers is stone. Really? When they want to do it. But good morning. This morning
Who are you calling the engineer?
Brother Lowell.
Brother Lowell is the producer.
Oh, yes. But Brother Lowell deputizing road as engineer.
On Thursdays only.
Yes, but
Brother Lowell wears many hats.
Yes, that is the reality.
Yeah.
God has blessed him with that. Many giftings.
Mm-hmm.
And him pulling out new ones. Yes, sir.
Yeah, prophesy upon him, dear
Yes,
Percy.
man. New ones coming to the fore.
More hats? Oh, boy.
Oh, him shifting some hats and putting on some new hats.
I'll need to make space for it.
Yes, man. But he's all right. He shall be all right.
There. Conrad laughing at us. Conrad say, I'm in my bed laughing. You know what now? That's showing off. That's just downright mean.
We still love your brother Conrad. Not a problem at all. We understand because the schools will start biting man. We laugh all time.
Yes, he who laughs last laughs
when
best.
the call reach him, good.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday when I think it was somebody put up a note that says, winter is approaching.
Yes.
The Game of Thrones fans who know that it's always something about winter. Winter is coming. I mean, people carry that like,
It's a serious thing.
It's a serious thing because winter can
coming.
last all a year.
So, in the Game of Thrones?
The long winter, yeah.
Wow. I thought it was seasonal, but
well, when you look at the history of the world, you realize that climate changes have been severe, and of course, some parts of the world they have nights for 6 months.
We see the beautiful Aurora Borealis.
Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
So the Game of Thrones played with the history of the world's climate quite a bit, but it's set in an age when winter could be 2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but
you live with the knowledge that winter is coming, and it was very much a statement about the seasonality of things. That no matter how good a season you're having right now, there's another season coming up.
There's a shift that is coming.
And you live towards it, so you make provisions for it because during that time, you have to be ready in a different kind of way. So it was always a very ominous statement. Winter is coming.
Okay, and you look at
and
it says, watch the ants.
Yeah.
Ants prepare.
Yeah, I gotta store something up, plant something, hide something.
Be like the ants.
Yeah.
As they prepare for the winter.
Take care of my family so that they love me during the winter. All of that.
So what then shall we say to all of these things that we're speaking about?
Yes. Yeah.
If God is for us, who can be successful against us? That's the question. Yesterday we declared indeed that a new day was born. And can you not see it? Can you not perceive it? What then shall we say to all these things that are happening? If God indeed has spoken it by his servants, has spoken it in his word, who can be successful against us? And I had a yesterday was interesting with the rain. I got SOS from my children.
Mm-hmm.
Come, and I said, who do I pick up first in terms of this journey? Because my son is downtown at his workplace.
This is Big Son.
Big son.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger son, school was let off at 2 o'clock. Indeed, some schools didn't happen yesterday,
You mean even though the kids went out?
Yeah, schools. My daughter was coming in. When she was coming down, she saw people coming back home because some schools didn't happen at all yesterday. And some schools are not happening today. Some schools have gone to the blended approach in terms of how they,
Online and in person.
yeah, whoop. So, okay, we're up on the break.
We're on the blended approach.
I don't know if you're on the blended approach. But I want to just talk a little bit more about that. Yes,
Yeah, when
as
we
take
return.
when we
return.
from the break.
Show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. So yesterday was rather interesting in terms of pickups, rain falling, going. Psh, psh. So, Daddy, can you pick me up? Daddy, can you pick me up? school finished. I'm saying, what is the route that I go? Because
Surely there are like two more daddies. Can you pick me up? Because really, two kids? Oh,
three.
mercy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there was one more.
Yeah, it
We
was
got three.
Three. So
All right.
how we gonna work it out? So now, when you go down on Marcus Garvey Drive, even though you remember that
Lord.
scandal, it's a scandal thing, I believe, because they spent all of this money fixing this road, and they knew there is a drainage problem there. So they go ahead and hurry up and fix the road. Then they said, to fix the problem, we have to spend about $2 billion more. You tell me now. So when you're going down Marcus Garvey Drive, when rain start to fall, you have to know, you have to check to see what is happening. So they said, I must go down that route. So I get that noise. Go on, man. They said, Holy Spirit said, you
Yes.
go that first. When I drove through, no water. No water. Dry as chip. Even though rain was falling, no.
Oh, so they fixed the drain.
They not fix no drain. Rain come down after that.
Oh.
And in 30 minutes, Daniel saying, Daddy, which way you driving? You know, Marcus Garvey Drive full up. I said, I'd long past that already. And then coming up Church Street and Harbour Street. So what happened yesterday to me, when I passed through, when you shall go through nothing, right after I pass,
The flood.
the flood started. And
So
I-
you picked up oldest daughter first?
No, I
Sorry,
pick up
eldest
son,
child?
and then eldest son
Big
first,
son 1st.
then daughter, then son. I said, wow. So I was just thinking about, for me personally, in terms of the instructions, go this route, that route. Because,
Walk this way.
you've never walked this way before.
Is that Run DMC?
Not Run DMC. I'm talking about scripture. It says, you never come. You've never, oh my Lord.
Hey, there is a song. Walk
I know that.
this way.
Yes, I know, but
He was quoting scripture.
yes, but you've never come this way before, so listen to my instructions. Because when you go through, I am there with you. Yeah, it's so important in this time. For a lot of us individually, God is going to be telling you to do things that they say, but it not making any sense at all. But it's going to be key to learn to trust, to obey, because he's making new paths that have not been trodden before. But then in the midst of that, you will see his glory. Because guess what is going to happen to us in this time? He's going to show off on us. And I say, see my child, because they're walking in obedience,
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing. Yep.
But you know, as you speak, I see something that's been coming from prior, discussions we've had here. Valuing the inner voice,
Yes.
recognizing it and giving it priority in how you make decisions. And then I see the self-esteem issue. Because we are so accustomed to being denigrated and doubted, and we begin to devalue our own voice and the urgings of our spirit. As we try to reconnect persons to that inner self, the one of strength, the one that is God-centered and created in the image.
Yes.
This is a part of the process.
It is.
Recognizing the voice, giving it value, and being obedient to it. If you think little of yourself, you're going to think little of your own thoughts and ideas, and, because that's a part of you. Low self-esteem is not just about denying the color of your skin or not being happy if you're fat, tall, black, whatever. Low self-esteem also means that your ideas, the thoughts that you have,
Of yourself.
you place no value on them. So if it's your idea, you say, boy, me think so we could have this, but I make the man go and do what I do because him go university or whatever the point of differentiation. Of course, and this is why I love the salt of the earth. There are some people who they think that, listen, their ideas are the winners. They are very, very convinced of the rightness of their own ideas, but they come at it without a foundation. And so even to separate them from, then it becomes just overbearing conceit, which we are.
Yeah, man.
There's a warning against that too.
That's why the Paul writing again in Romans 12:1 and 2 says, all right, listen to what I have to say to you. So it says, then you know what the will of God is. But it says, for by the grace of God given to me, I say to you, everyone, do not think more highly of yourself than you should. But you ought to think of yourself rightly, so you can have a sound judgment, as God has apportioned to each a degree of faith and a purpose designed for service.
Aye, well, you just made it all complicated there. But I love it because that is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're walking on a kind of a tightrope.
You are.
In this process. The conversations we have with you may seem to be disconnected in some aspects of it, but it's all centered on one thing. If you have a right understanding of yourself, and you're not meaning now, you know who you are, but to know who you are, you have to be connected to your Creator, because He is the one that designed you for those things that Pastor just mentioned, for a purpose. He designed you for a purpose with some particular giftings. And if you're not connected to those, then you're not going to have the right value. You won't place the right value on yourself. Either you're going to go too high, like some of the leaders and the princes of this land who think they are untouchable, or you're going to go too low, like those who, denigrate and disparage themselves and don't place the right value. Or if you are in the teaching profession and you don't have a right idea of yourself and the people you're teaching, you're going to miss the mark same way.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's that necessity for us to be standing in purpose.
So
and
balance, have the balance yourself.
Yes.
And you're working out on a daily basis what God's will and purpose for you is, because He has it. You know what amazes me? There are how much people themselves in the world? 8.3 something billion. And you imagine that God in His wisdom have a purpose
for everyone.
For every single person.
Every single one. Yep. And each person's purpose is so uniquely crafted that only you can fulfill it.
Yeah.
So you're not competing against anyone to fulfill your purpose. On Thursday, when we were speaking with Philip, good morning, Philip. I do hope you've kept an ear on our program. When we were speaking with Philip, and we spoke about artificial intelligence. And I was making the point, which I never tire of making, actually, because it's just something we have to be very conscious of. I was making the point that the artificiality of the intelligence is premised on a recognition that a computer can only do what it is programmed to do. No matter how complex the calculation, it is always acting within a framework of some set instructions. And that is both its strength and its weakness. That is its strength because if you tell a man to do the same thing 100 times, you won't tell him the same way, he won't hear it the same way, and he won't perform it the same way, because human beings are not programmed to be inflexible.
That's true.
In their appreciation of things. Neither the doer nor the sayer can be inflexible. Whereas computers only take what is put, its input and output. That's it. That is a strength because it won't, unless it breaks down, it will give you the same result, the same quality, the same output based on what you have put in. And of course, the human being going fall asleep, dropping his hand, decide saying, I do this too long, it's boring now, make him just give it a little flair. And so you don't have that reliability and that consistency. And some things, like if you're making 1,000 motor cars, it's 1,000 motor cars of the same. No difference. No wrinkle, no extra little thing in every 100 cars or something like that. We are like that. We want diversity and we are creative and so on. So the computer has that advantage over us. But the computer cannot make an adaptation outside of its parameters, its set parameters, for something that was not expected.
That's true.
Yeah, and so it's even if it can simulate emotions, it's only within a set frame. And what makes this world beautiful and diverse and sustainable is the variability of things, the ability to adapt, and that is the human factor.
Yes, that's the human
That's
factor.
the human factor. Animals don't have it, no matter how cute and friendly and whatever you might be thinking. Animals operate on instinct, and instinct is by its very nature unpredictable, in that a factor can change that you might not be aware of, but the creature of instinct senses it and moves with it. That makes them beautiful too, but it means you can't control them outside of whatever it is you have trained them to do. That is the beauty and the pain of artificial intelligence.
That's programmable.
What we're talking about now on the human side is something that we want to preserve, because that's the point where divinity and humanity intersects.
The divine, the infinite, intersects with the finite, which is us. And because we are led by the Spirit of God, what happens? We're able to walk in God's purpose and the things that He has ordained for us, because we are walking in obedience to what God has revealed. That's interesting.
Welcome,
Mr. Fairweather.
It's Mr. I see how you've just
Bevin.
made that. Bevin sounds like Kevin with a B.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with it. Please correct us, Fairweather, if we are wrong on the gender designation. But I love the conversation that you're raising here online. This is, I won't be gender specific. I hate it when I say he or she and it's neither.
Fairweather.
Fairweather says,
The person Fairweather.
what is authority, and does authority have limitation? Is authority taken or given? A big issue there, And then a conclusion is offered. Authority cannot be democratic. It has to be righteous. Pastor, which one are you weighing in on as it touches?
Authority cannot be democratic. It has to be righteous.
Well, once you say righteous, are we in the theocratic world? Is there righteousness? Can righteousness be properly understood without an understanding of God?
No.
In which case, then the democracy goes out the window for true, because anything that is centered on God has to be submitted to the theocratic rule of God. But I love it that authority as a concept is being raised just in this little moment as we're talking about what it is to have your self-esteem, your identity, and your knowledge of self rooted in your Creator. He is the source of all power and authority is given by Him.
True.
And, when He gives it, yes, it has limitations.
All power and authority is given to me. Go.
Yes.
And make disciples of all nations. Matthew 20. Yeah.
So in that context, the limitation is what is set by the one who gives the authority.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is really. So we understand who gives us the authority in the situation. And when He now releases you in His delegated authority, you're good. And if you understand that in terms of your movements and your action, when people come against it, because that was something that Jesus always had to contend with when the Pharisees would come and say,
Oh, yes. Who is he?
Who give you that?
Isn't that Mary's son? What this carpenter boy talking about?
Yeah. Because he understood who had given him the authority. You don't know who has given you, but I know mine, so I can do the things that I do.
And as you talked about, if God be for us, who can succeed against us? Now
he or she.
It's kind of been brought together, because when you are acting under that kind of authority, the giver of the authority defends it. Because anybody who attacks you is attacking the one who has authorized you and set you in play. And when that's the ultimate source of power, who then can succeed against us?
The given authority.
Two things are looming. I'm borrowing the word from the Gleaner headline this morning. It's everything now is about, let's call it the welfare of man.
True.
And I'm looking at it that way as I look at what's happening in Jamaica. The persistent rainfall is sometimes
It's highlight.
worse than a quick breeze that tear down what it for tear down and gone. The ground being saturated to the point that it is with this rain and the poor drainage and the garbage that's accumulated and
the
blocking drains and so on. And when you hear the reports of water just passing through the house and taking, oh, my heart broke for the people who said they went and checked and the chickens were all gone, drowned. Part of close to where I am, Indian Town, K Valley, which is in like a basin.
It's a basin. It catches the water, yeah.
Just catches the water, and then over time, sometimes the water sits there. I remember K Valley was underwater for almost a month in one hurricane. The gas station, it has not recovered. In all truth, it has not recovered. Water just sat in that little pool, big pool, for a season. My sister, we all met up at a wedding in Runaway Bay on Sunday. When I spoke to her last night, she hadn't left Clarendon because she was staying with my other sister in James Hill. And the two of them got to James Hill and are marooned. Yes.
And they can't move.
She can't leave. One, the rain was continuing to pound, and two, the roads were becoming impassable. Indian Town should have to go through Indian Town. Should have to go through K Valley, Indian Town.
That's why they call it K Valley. It's a valley.
It's a valley. The conditions, even the conditions of the little roads, the little side roads and the parochial roads that go up to your house, and the lanes and walkways that go to your house, cannot be navigated.
Water.
Just between the water, the rain, and the bad condition of the road. She was worried about. Our housekeeper lives up in that place where Miss Cuthbert Flynn is always at war with her constituents. What's the name of that road again? Something Stock Farm.
Stock Farm.
Stock Farm Road. Oh my goodness! She left work like about 2:00 yesterday. We had to permit her to head home. Yes, but I don't know if she's coming out. I just don't know what the condition is because all the debris that gets swept down. I'm going through all this to say that when the built infrastructure, the environment that you have to traverse to get to work, to go buy food, to pay your bills, whatever it is that you need to do, all these things ultimately have an impact on your welfare.
Yeah.
So we see two things happening now. The government completed and presented the wage package. Now, we know that though not all of us are government workers, we understand that the wage package that civil servants get is kind of like the baseline
for everything else.
Yeah. It's the baseline on two levels. One, if the civil servants are unhappy, the rest are unhappy. That's like, go happy wife, happy life.
Hey.
If the police then vex, the tax people vex. If the civil servants in the many offices across this country that serve our needs one way or another, whether they're doing a good job or a bad job, if they are unhappy, rest assured the rest of us going to be miserable. We're not going to be getting anything quickly or well out of them. So even on a enlightened self-interest from that perspective, it matters to us that the people who serve in the public sector are taken care of. So they have been given a wage package. The government was very proud to announce that some of the wages were, like they would say, things would move. People who were getting below $1 million would now, I don't want to misquote it, but some of the numbers sounded good at first blush.
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm saying.
They were talking about wages going up to millions of dollars that only people like the commissioner of police would normally see.
But they have said when you take away a major sticking point is the
The concession,
yeah.
yes. All right, let me give you an idea of the magnitude of change that this package heralds. For financial year one, so it's structured where you would see the increases taking place over a 3-year period. You're looking at it, Pastor?
Yes, I'm there.
Right. For financial year one, proposed salaries would range from $969,000, just under $1 million, to $15 million for the highest paid. So the lowest paid would move to just under $1 million to, yeah. For year two, it would go from between 1.1 million to $17.4 million. And for year three, between 1.3 million and 20.2 million. So it's moving at about the same
Yeah, but break it down
extent.
Because break it down now.
So those are the numbers at the top level.
Yeah, but here's it.
Yeah, the sticking points you're getting to.
The sticking point is that when you see salaries at 20.2, only few people are in those band.
Yes, I listen to maybe 3 people.
Yeah, and that's why they are saying the package for band 6 to 11 is like the purses if a substantial increase in salary is not put on the table. So what the government has proposed, and somebody did pinch me about 2 months ago and saying, who is part of the negotiating team, said, it really not making sense. To them, for the majority of the civil service, those people in band 6 to 11, which is where most of the people are concentrated, it's not making any sense at all. And what helped them was the duty concession in those bands.
Yes.
And
Which you get
motor vehicle upkeep, because what they're doing, they're going to roll it into it and tax it.
They give you money for it and tax it.
Yeah, I'm saying, so on the face of it.
And then they pay you late.
Yeah.
And then all kind of something start happening with it. Listen, the trust factor is a very big part of this narrative of events. If you take away my concession that is worth $4 million, for argument's sake, and say, I'm going to give you the $4 million over the pay period. Well, I don't even know how they would do it, because it's $4 million that's good for as long as you have the car for 3-4 years. And if they try to give you $4 million spread over 3-4 years of salary, it's worth nothing. For one, cost of living and inflation, suck it out. As they say you're getting it, it keeps shrinking. You don't reach a hand yet, it keeps shrinking. So it's not a fair exchange. If I have a duty concession of $4 million, for argument's sake, good for over 4 years, you'd need to give me about $12 million in ready cash. I'm just randomly picking figures. That's not a mathematical calculation, but I want persons listening to understand that the net present day value of money is different from whatever you estimate it to be over a period of time.
That's what you call inflation.
Yeah, inflation suck away the value of it, whereas your car is there. Okay, so that's not, when I heard the minister say it, that they're going to be happier, that's the people who mistake cash flow for wealth.
Yeah.
I have $12 million running through my company. I'm good. But $11 million of it should go to expenses spread over time. Cash flow is not wealth.
And those in business, some people say the money running, but it's not wealth because of that.
Yeah, because the expenses and the needs of the business eat it up.
Yeah.
So if you give me a concession, I think they need to give the people the concession. Concession is foregoing money that you would collect in taxes. Concession is something that they can afford to give without it being too painful. So there are some sticking points. Obviously, the duty concession is one of them. And the second is that the mid-range salary bands where most of the workers are is not satisfactory. No point telling me that somebody can get up to $20 million when I am in the $2 million range.
Okay.
Yeah. So we see that happening, and that I mention it only to give all of us a consciousness that the welfare of the citizen is under great stress in terms of how you make a living if you are working. And remember, the public service is very extensive. It includes the teachers, the policemen, the tax officers, the transport authority people, everybody that you see in the keeping the system going, administering our public life, form a part of it. a lady that I've come to know in recent times, she revealed to me that the clerical position she occupies in at camp pays her, I think is $15,000 every 2 weeks.
Come again?
She gets $15,000 a fortnight. 15 a fortnight from a job that she does. Dress up, take bus, go out every day, have to get to Camp Road. And what her take home is $15,000 every 2 weeks.
But that is not minimum wage.
That's below minimum wage.
But you see, some people were positing that one of the reasons why the government was not willing to move the minimum wage above what it was, because it means that
They're going to have to pay it.
They would have to pay it, and a lot of their persons at the lower levels are not paid minimum wage when you work it out for them.
I want to advocate for her. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So you have that is looming large. The wage deal proposed by the government is a sham. And then on the other hand, now you see that the infrastructure now, the roadways, the ability to travel, so on and so forth, not standing up.
But let me just throw this.
Don't throw it yet, because they just throw us a signal. That's it. It's 7:00, and I caught that.
A difference you can hear.
Fast FM keeps listening.
Protecting the rights of consumers is one of the core mandates of the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC. If you have a dispute with a vendor and need help, you can call them for support. Their work has helped thousands of Jamaican consumers receive redress and compensation from vendors. Today, we get an update on the CAC's recent activities. Since the start of the new financial year, the Consumer Affairs Commission CAC has secured over $15.9 million in refunds and compensation on behalf of aggrieved consumers. Chief Executive Officer Dulcie Allen says the figure is almost double the amount of refunds and compensation secured for consumers for the same period last year.
In terms of complaints, we have handled 838 complaints. Now, this is about a 4% increase over last year this time, where we had 804 complaints that we handled. Again, we see the top category as electrical equipment and appliances, and that was 25.89%. Other services, 22.11%, and utilities, 15.58%. And of course, motor vehicles and parts, 10.95%.
In addition to making complaints, the CAC continued to provide customers with advice and support as they sought to make purchases.
From time to time, persons call us wanting to know what exactly to do, what are some of the issues that they are facing, how can they deal with them, even sometimes in the presence of the vendor when they go shopping. And interestingly, we sometimes, from time to time, get requests for advice from the vendors themselves, because they also want to do what is right and they want to know how to handle some of these situations.
With the COVID-19 protocols having been relaxed, the agency is back on the road with its public education campaign and interacting with more consumers face-to-face.
So last year, this time, we were seeing just about 11 or so thousand persons directly. And this year, at this time, we have had direct face-to-face with about 25,000 persons. So it's almost a doubling. So we are back on track as it relates to our outreach programs, because we realize that education is important for our consumers, and we have to arm them with the requisite information so they can make wise decisions.
Ms. Allen continues to encourage consumers to learn their rights and responsibilities, as well as those of vendors when doing business, and to equip themselves with the right information before making a purchase.
We want our consumers to be vigilant. We want you to be well informed. We want you to be aware of your rights and responsibilities, and not just aware of them, but we want you to exercise them, to put them into practice. So we have the information, you just utilize the information. So our consumers, we are appealing to you. We are growing as a nation, and we ask that you grow as consumers as well. To must be a little more responsible in how we conduct our day-to-day transactions as it relates to our commercial activities. Our set with information. We have a lot of information on our website. Visit our website. We have an app that provides information for you as well. And call our Consumer Affairs Commission offices. We're always ready and willing to assist in whatever way we can.
Chief Executive Officer Dulce Allen. So, remember, if you're having a dispute with a vendor after you purchased an item or a service, there are resources available to help you get redress. Just get in touch with the Consumer Affairs Commission, and they will guide you through the options. For more information and to file a complaint with the CAC, visit their website at cac.gov.jm or call 876-619-4222.
That's funny.
Our goal is to trace every pound of beef right back to the farmer, thanks to the National Animal Identification and Traceability System, NATES. Farmers, registration with NATES enables you to legally transport your animals, tag your cattle, get their passports, and enjoy greater security. It is now mandatory for all cattle farmers to register with NATES. Protect your investment. Register with NATES today. For more information, call the Veterinary Services Division in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries at 876-977-2489.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
One in. When there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker. And before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, live a bank or low line area. If you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and a sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away I do a take taxi start.
Jano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
You big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling her cause trust me.
Waiters, Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Vejan Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vejan Printers, your best choice in printing.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Oh my Lord.
Good morning and welcome back. No, Pastor. Since we can't explain it, you have to stop laughing.
Okay, my dear.
Unless you want me to explain it.
No, I'm just... You were talking about the front page.
Yeah, I was just trying to set a framework for us to interpret certain things and, take certain decisions in our private setting. And it's good to be prepared for what is coming up. We're not being alarmist because there's no cause for alarm. These are the things that happen. And because we're human beings, we are adaptable. We're not computers who can only respond in a fixed way. We can flow with the times and roll with the punches, or any which of those that you want to borrow from. I'm alerting our citizens to what we are seeing in this season. We see the government presenting a wage package. It's been touted, and every kind of dramatic performance has been associated with Minister Nigel Clarke's delivery of it. I'm going to quote from the report in today's edition of The Gleaner on just a summary of how, I'm going to say, union sources have analyzed it and what they're saying. At the heart of it is the issue of trust. All right. The ministry said that this package is to ensure compensation reform does not render the worker worse off. But the source said what has been proposed in terms of salaries either makes the employee worse off or just making par. So you're not improved, you're just kind of getting to where you ought to be. Unions want the government to beef up the 6 to 11 bands or face a wholesale rejection of the proposal. What they did originally was groups 1 to 5. So there are 16 pay bands or scales in the package. Mm-hmm. Those in groups 1 to 5 and those in groups 12 to 16. So the last batch and the first, those they gave solid attention. What they did originally was groups 1 to 5 and 12 to 16 shoot through the top. Mm-hmm. All the big people of society are in the latter groups 12 to 16. Mm-hmm. And the small man, the really, really small man, is in groups 1 to 5. If you give 100% to the man in the group 1 to 5, that's nothing much, the source said. So that would be like my lady whom I spoke of, who's getting $15,000 per fortnight. If they gave her $30,000 per fortnight, mm-hmm. it would be nothing much. She would be just about at par. Mm-hmm. Because it was so low. So they're saying a dramatic change took place in the low bands that was really shameful, and in the high bands that's where the commissioner of police and the big guys, that's where they sit. In the middle group, and it's always the middle group that is important.
Or the middle class.
In the middle group, groups 6 to 11, you have the vast majority of technical and professional people in the public sector who are the heartbeat and soul, and they would be worse off, the source said.
And the government needs to come and dispute, repudiate that it is not so.
Yes, and that's not a we say so in Parliament with lots of laughter and backslapping. This is put the money on the table that they can look at it and see that they are getting good compensation. So that's where all your teachers, your nurses, your policemen...
It's not a cloak and dagger thing.
No, it isn't.
It's a shadows and mirrors.
No smoke and mirror business with this one.
Put the facts on the table.
Put it on the table. A big deal for them is this concession. When I heard the minister say that he's going to take away the concession, but when they see the money, they are going to be happy, I wondered how he would do that. Because if you get a $4 million concession and you have to keep the car for what? How long do you have to keep the cars usually?
5 years.
And you have to keep the car for 5 years. So that's $4 million. Anybody trying to give you that $4 million value is going to spread it over 5 years, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they think they're so cute. You would spread it over 5 years. When you spread that over 5 years, that's nothing.
No, but you remember I made a point yesterday, and I was saying, with the Minister of Agriculture talking about genome in meat.
Yes, the sequence, the running genome.
No, and I'm saying to us, everything can be broken down simple that people can understand it. Do not believe, and I'm speaking to myself, and I'm speaking to my other friends who have gone to university and so on. Everything is simple, is simple mathematics. Put it to the persons and let them make a decision. Do not believe that because you have a doctorate, and I'm not bashing university education or tertiary. Everything can be broken down simply that people can understand it. And if you ask the people that, they will look at it and say, because when you look at that whole thing and what happens in terms of inflation over time, yes, you take that into consideration. I remember, people, inflation should be between the 4 to 6% band. It is running at 10%. It's running at 10% annualized now, which means that they're out of the band already. And it is set to increase.
The money yet.
Yes, it's out of the band already.
Yeah.
And people, and you see, what makes it so very difficult for most Jamaicans is that the political class will say this: do this for us long term. That has always been the thing, But then our leaders are not making the sacrifices for the call on people
to make.
Yeah. And a lot of people are now rejecting it. And we have to be careful because trust has been lost. And because when we do things, we're not thinking about the people, we're just thinking about ourselves and making our nest very cozy, comfortable. And we're not thinking, because we might not understand it, but you see, when the then Prime Minister of Jamaica says his pension must be at the same rate as a sitting, it send a serious message to the Jamaican people. You're not thinking about me.
Well, it sets a standard for how you should think about me.
Yeah.
Because if that's what you want for yourself, you should want the same thing for me.
Yeah.
So I regard it as something that sets a very clear standard with which we can live, and that what we can fight for and what we can hold them accountable to us at that level. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it. Because, in truth, I do not think that someone who serve as Prime Minister should suffer as in their retirement. I don't think they should.
No, I'm not. Yep, I'm in agreement.
So that's a good standard.
Yes,
but it should be a standard for
everybody.
All. It's a standard for everybody.
And then we also need to remember, because I got a call from somebody close to me that says, have they paid pensions for retired civil servants? Because they called me in panic and says, government normally pays by seeing that the 25th was Sunday, they pay by the 23rd. So the person went to do...
And nothing.
There's nothing there. So
we come to another issue that's affecting this wage deal too.
Yeah.
You take away something that you give me and I get it once. I don't have to be bothering you about it every so often. And you are now to give it to me month on month. I don't trust you to give that to me. I expect that next year you're going to come and say, this thing that I did promise you, we can't afford it anymore.
Mm-hmm. It happened already.
And that is a pattern that we've seen. So, now, when you are seeking to absorb the travel expenses and the motor vehicle maintenance and so on. You're now trying to put that into the salary package. So no longer can a person put in a request for motor vehicle upkeep. They now have to pay it out of the disposable income that they get, even if there is some kind of, allowance that you set at a standard. Again, inflation eats that away while the real cost of maintaining a motor vehicle just continues to go. So it's not a fair exchange. We're going to see some issues there, and I'm imploring the average Jamaican citizen to stand with the civil servants.
Well,
it's not us against them.
A gentleman who keeps calling the program and saying to us that
the civil servants are the key. Yeah. Bear with them, support them, advocate for them, because the standard that you set for them is the standard that will apply for you. I heard someone say on the weekend that you will never rise past the level of the things you criticize.
Go ahead.
I had to pause to make sure that because what it was, it's very similar to the honor you give is the honor you receive.
That's true.
If you're someone who go about carping and criticizing things and you're never fixing problems and you're never being a support or a blessing to anyone, you in your personal experience will be stuck at that level.
That is why
of the thing you criticize.
That's why when we criticize, we put solutions on the table as to how we can fix it. That is our
Or we
start.
critique.
Yes.
You critique a thing, you assess it, and you make useful
recommendations and
heartfelt
solutions.
comments about it, and you set about being a part of how it is repaired and brought to the standard that is fit for society, that is fit for you, fit for your family. If you get stuck at just tearing down things, you yourself will never be built up. So when you see the government putting a proposal to the civil servants, which you know would be unacceptable for yourself, support them in rejecting it and be a part of finding a solution that can see the people who serve us in good standing, or else you yourself will not prosper. And you don't have to think of it as some kind of, whimsical philosophical nonsense. Just recognize that if the policeman not happy, not gonna give you good service and justice on the road.
And then
when you go into the government offices, you're gonna have to wait long. Nobody will be motivated to give you good service because they are suffering, and their suffering will become your pain. So we get that clear. The other thing is, there is a habit when the infrastructure comes under pressure like that. Government starts to talk about how much things they have to do to fix the road, as if it is the only issue is the expense of it, and the rest of us are not also paying for that experience. Look at this drone shot of the island with a big, wow.
Man, it's Big Pond, man. It's Big Pond.
Big Pond in Bannister, St. Catherine, which is perennially flooded.
And I think I've made a comment already.
Big Pond need a flyover. You need a road built over it.
No, but the fact that it named Big Pond says to me that when rain falls, it's going to become
a pond.
A big pond, like swamp. What happens is that, Monique. So,
yeah.
But when you're doing something, like, okay, let us take into consideration Marcus Garvey Drive. We know, because of what has happened with the accumulation of silt that comes down into that area, that when they were doing that highway that Marcus Garvey fixed,
change it to Underholdness Drive.
Don't say that. Just continue with your point.
The engineers says you would have to take into consideration what is coming down in terms of ensuring that you are dealing sufficiently with the runoff and the flooding that used to be there. When they fix that thing at considerable cost to us, because we paid for it, whether it is a loan or whatever, we Jamaicans pay for it. And then after hearing that, to fix the problem, it's another $2 billion. Somebody said mad sick head no good. So but because in terms of your planning,
yes, that's an obvious
it's
oversight.
not obvious because you look and you see. So when we're fixing the road, we need to take into consideration all of the historical data that has been there in terms of the area, so you plan for it. And I know that is what the good engineers do. Some of the times I'm wondering if when we ask international people to come in and to fix these things, we get the input of our local engineers who know the system well, who know what is happening on the ground. Are we using the things that IE from Up University in terms of the geoinformatics, in terms of planning? Do we use that? Because the information is there. It's there. And it's time that we use it. And I see you reading the thing that the gentleman who we hailed has lost his head in the IDB. Remember when he came in, he says, I can't believe that this is what is happening.
Oh no, it's not him who said it, you know.
It's him. It's same one. Is he?
No, it's the head. It's like a regional head. He is. It wasn't Mauricio who made the statements about Therese. You're looking at the violation of ethics rules. This is the Trump candidate who, as they've said, for the first time in 63 years, an American was chosen to head the IDB, which is usually headed by someone out of the region. So now someone who is not from the region was heading the bank. And that was not a happy situation for the 48 member states. Usually the head of the bank comes from
but he was the same guy,
region.
Man. He came to Jamaica last year.
He came to Jamaica, yes.
And then he had pointed out that there was more money that was available for people to do work in the region.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember those statements.
He's the same person.
Yeah.
But we're not doing more anything. But anyway. And it is Clark who is the
Clark-led board.
Yes, it's Clark, or Finance Minister Clark.
Finance Minister Clark, now the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I was reading to see what was in the violation of ethic rules.
They used that. That was.
It was centered on the nature of personal relations between Claver Caron and a senior staffer for whom he made employment decisions, a situation that is said to violate the ethics rules of the bank.
Really?
When
it is...
They caught him in the, what is that, lust of life, pride of, which one is
whatever
it?
it is.
Which one is it? Well, that is an impressive standard, Mr. Clark, leading the board to fire somebody because of a too intimate relationship with a member of staff. Is that the new standard? Because wouldn't that be a good thing in Jamaica?
It would be a wonderful thing. It would be a great thing.
I mean, look at what happened with us and Petrojam and the lady who... Now, when we say it, they say it's centered on the nature of personal relations. It's not necessarily saying it was romantic.
Yes.
It could have been familial. It could be political. It just meant it was not a purely professional business relationship. So when you hire, your son auntie, or I'm just saying that is a good standard. Now, Mr. Caron was complaining that he was being tried, convicted, and executed over an anonymous letter. And we here were curious as to how that could have played out. I don't remember if I said it on air, but an anonymous letter can lead to something that that's absolutely. Like, I said, if someone sends you an anonymous letter that says, look under the bed for a box, and in the box you have bill and receipt of every wrongdoing, you don't have to be relying on the anonymous letter. All it did was set you on a path. You rely on the evidence that you get from the box under the bed. And I was thinking that it must be something like that, which caught poor Mr. Carone, and he, Clava Carone, and he was still looking at the anonymous letter piece of it. But I doubt that 48 members of a board who must understand that they themselves in their countries of origin could be held to the same standard would pursue a course of action. Of course. I mean, Mr. Clark comes back home fresh from, that bloodletting. Somebody could look in his ministry and begin to say, well, now, Minister, now that you've seen how it is done, let's look at the relationship between so and so.
You think that's going to happen?
I pray for it.
That's what I ask you.
Well, listen.
This has been a morning of laughter for me, It's laughter because
you're celebrating.
I don't know if I celebrate it, but some things happen, and with they say take bad things make laugh. In terms of some of the things that need to change, and I continue to declare there's a new day that is dawning in Jamaica and the region in terms of how things go.
Yes.
We hope.
You see what I pull up here to show you? The prophet, well, he's not the prophet. Well, yes, he's prophetic, but I'm just reminding you of the standards which we live to as children of light. We were once in darkness, but now we are light.
True.
So we must live as light. And what does light do? First, you find out what would please your Creator. And you must have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness.
True.
But you must expose them.
True.
Rather, expose them.
We continue.
Apostle Paul said it is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret. The things that they do in secret. Shameful even to mention it. But once you expose it to the light. So that's why I spoke as I did. When the minister comes home, fresh from upholding those high standards of personal integrity, shine that light on what's going on in his own ministry, in his own administration, everywhere precisely. Yes.
Yeah. Time come.
7:30 a.m. Let's take our break.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM. Keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Best Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome back. Those who have just joined us, please know that we are just talking through some issues on which we are offering guidance and our own opinions on how to look at it. We have been talking about what we see on the front page with the wage situation under review by the major unions that represent the public sector workers, appreciating that not nearly enough has been done to address the wide band of professionals who sit in the middle of the civil service, the taking away of some substantial benefits, and the kind of money that is being offered on the table not nearly representing a fair exchange, anticipating the unhappiness in that sector of society, and now looking at what's happening with the infrastructure as the roads and the built environment comes under pressure. Too much water on the soil at the moment. It is going to affect your homes, your ability to travel, your kids going to school. It's going to be miserable, and then you're going to hear the government say that there's a high bill to a cost to fix the roads, and then you're going to see them proceeding with maybe a schedule of repairs that's going to make us unhappy again. So as we contemplate all those things looming large, how do we as citizens hold together? And Pastor has an idea.
No, I was just commenting on the decision by the IDD board to sack their president and the high standard of ethics.
Yes.
And I was saying, it just reminds me of something that recently happened in England when, with Boris Johnson, his
camp start to abandon him.
Just said, me gonna left you, you're there by your own in terms of all of what you have done. And we hope in terms of what is happening in Jamaica, land that we love, in terms of the polls saying this has been the most corrupt government, that will somebody with backbone in this administration, with the stench that is there in terms of corruption, just say, you know what, for my own peace of mind and my own reputation and integrity, I'm out of here. Because somebody...
So you're well, the government would collapse, because who would stay? Who would stay? But two things are coming out of what you're saying. The first is, we've seen a standard of care being exercised or practiced by the IDB. 48 member countries. The executive directors of the Board of Governors voted unanimously for the president to be ousted. And the situation, the allegations against him centered on personal relations between him and a senior staffer for whom he made employment decisions, a situation that they said violated the ethics rules of the bank.
So there are set rules.
There are rules of ethical, on setting the standards of behavior, which he violated. The nature of the violation is something that happens every day in Jamaica. In our own civil service arrangements, we see
boards.
Listen, we see the violations. Yes.
Recent memory.
You're saying now that Minister Clark, fresh from that exercise, is coming into a situation where if he were to hold his colleagues and himself to the same standard of care, whether there is a documented, the truth is, I'm sure we have documented rules concerning
ethics.
Those. Yes, I'm sure we have them. You're saying we now should apply the same standard here.
Yes.
And if done, persons should be walking away.
Yes, ma'am.
As they walked away from Boris Johnson, causing him to resign. But you know what? I think in Jamaica, if people walk away, whoever is left would just appoint replacements. Boris Johnson, it was whatever integrity remained in Johnson, and I'm not saying it in any disparaging way. Boris Johnson was the key to that. He cared enough about his country to offer his resignation when he saw that his colleagues were walking away from him.
True.
Do we have anyone in our leadership who would see that as, aside from Rocky Mead?
Yeah, but and that has come back. Yeah, Rocky Mead will say, you know what happened?
Yes, we do have Rocky Mead.
Rocky Mead say, you know what happened?
I don't want that job.
Me not in on the mix-up.
I don't want that job.
Yeah.
But do you see anyone, I'm just asking, you see anyone who would, I see you looking at that's Rocky Mead and the Prime Minister. Yeah. You see anyone who would do that? Who would say, all right, him gone him yard, maybe, and she gone too, and what, look over there, this one. Listen, man, there would be any number of contenders wanting to fill the slot, and we'd be marching along. I have to assume it is so, because all the things that have happened, and we don't see any kind of change. We don't have that, either that spirit or integrity or whatever it is. We don't have it.
How tight is tight? Oh, boy.
Oh, that's Gordon Robinson?
Yes, how tight is tight. We have this thing which people use some of the times, and I won't even take that on, is that people are saying you are raising criticisms because teeth, like see teeth with long
bag.
Right. But for us as Jamaicans, we are just saying to a lot of powers that be, just do the right thing. Walk away from it. It's not good for you, because one of the things, you're going to be held accountable. And you're going to be held accountable for the things you have, the deeds that you have done in this life. And even some people will be held accountable in this life right now. And we see a lot of things happening to people. And you're saying, how come that person just falling from grace? One day they were up, down. The accounts are being called in regards to what happened. So, and then we see now Judge Drew Redder.
Yeah, I want to just put that information into the mix, because many persons have been saying, what happened to the Royal Reed trial? Why can't it proceed? And could we have some resolution of that matter? Well, those who were watching it and saw all the legal maneuvers around it may recall that the attorneys for Reed and others had applied for the trial to be stayed pending a judicial review in the Supreme Court of the orders that were made to permit the trial to proceed. It was set down for trial in the criminal courts. So now the lawyers went to the civil court to ask for those orders to be reviewed. Legal maneuverings, really. And an order was granted to stay the case until that judicial review process is completed. So that's why you have not seen Mr. Reed go to trial. It is because he is challenging the orders which had the matter set down for trial. There were some other points about whether or not FID. The substantive points have to do with, can FID, which is like a department of the Ministry of Finance, can they send in police to search and seize and have you arrested and then ultimately prosecute you for those misbehaviors of which Reed is alleged to commit? Because FID is not the Department of Prosecution.
No, it's just financial.
It is just it's an agency in government. So that issue was raised early o'clock because of the special nature of what FID does, and that issue has continued to exercise the courts and has led to a stay in the criminal trial. At this point, FID is itself trying to appeal against the ruling that the trial be stayed. So
they might do the right thing.
They're pressing, and yes, they're pressing. Remember that one of our declarations and one of the things we've been pressing for is that put these issues to the test in court. Litigate them so persons can be sure. FID does a number of things in the secret parts of the financial world in this country. Do they have the authority to do some of these things? Have they overstepped the line and compromised the citizens' fundamental rights and freedoms? Those are important points. So while that is going on, we all have to wait for Mr. Reid to be brought to justice. And as you are seeing, maybe he won't be if the attorneys representing him succeed in saying that what the FID did was unauthorized, cannot stand, and cannot form the foundation of any criminal prosecution. So you see, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for Mr. Reid. It's a big deal for you and me as citizens, because we need to know when we see these agencies going out and doing things, are they properly authorized to be doing so? And if they are not, can the right person please step up and do it so the country don't feel like everything is a sham?
That's an important thing, because a lot of people are saying, really? This really goes off a true? To the man in the street who we are trying to explain to them how this thing really works. But how long is this now? How many years is this now? 4 years? 4 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Longer than, you mean. But you see...
Because you remember when the Director of Public Prosecution said it's going to go quickly to trial. They cherry pick the things that go quickly to trial. But that, I think, even what has happened, they could have moved it along quicker. What do you think? What's your thinking?
Well, because of my specialized knowledge, I have to be mindful that every time you see a citizen on trial, the system is also on trial.
Okay.
So I'm watching the system that's on trial. I mean, one man on trial is meaningless in the overall scheme of things.
The system that...
But the system is the one that must endure. And it is the system that must give you the credibility. That's where the trust is built.
Yes.
So I'm watching the system being on trial. Because our government so like to hold on to authority and like to exercise power, we set up offices to do certain things, and then we begin to claw back when we see the true nature of it, and we want to be able to interfere politically. We begin to claw back some of the power or the authority that we have given to departments. FID has arisen in the midst of the Ministry of Finance, but it really is like a police force.
Oh, it is?
Well, I mean, they investigate financial transactions. Why don't you have a financial division of the police force that does that? Why is it in the Ministry of Finance?
That's interesting, because I met the police do it.
Yeah. Why aren't we entrusting our police and building them up, giving them the capability to do some of these things? So you have FID in the middle of the Ministry of Finance, and it handles some special tasks, I guess. And here it is, something that is a corruption matter, which is a crime, which any policeman reasonably trained should be able to investigate, is being handled by this special department. And it now comes to the point...
minister who is a political person.
Who is a political person.
Because that matter in itself was a political matter.
Of course. The man was a minister of government.
Yeah.
So now you get to the point where you have information that some crime has been committed, but the information gathering and the foundation of things seem to be so tied up with FID that a lawyer can look at it and say, but who is FID going into the man's business? That would be a breach. So I'm watching.
You think them did know?
Well, guess what happened?
We're not going to be cynical, are we?
Well, Pastor, you raised a big one there. I don't think they knew in the sense of having actual knowledge of the specific thing. But I think we seek to organize things in a way that we can control it. And if you are doing that, it means you're not respecting the power that your constitution gives to the DPP, that it gives to the police force, that it gives to the organs of government that should be handling those matters. If it involves big money, it means it could be one of your friends, it could be a minister, it could be, do you understand? Mm-hmm. So you are creating a system that reserves a discretion and a power to you where you can interfere. Yet, the official arrangement is separation of powers. The executive arm, the judiciary, the prosecutorial, all these principles that we honor under the rule of law, we're not allowing them to operate. Yet if it were to come to you or me or some other person in the band 1 to 5 of government who don't have that type of connection, if it came to you being implicated in an offense, it would just go. The rules would apply. Oh, yes. I told you, when the government moved against Carousel, the directors of Carousel and Extranet, they called us in on the Thursday or the Friday, whichever day it was. I think it was a Friday. They called us in on the Friday. They arrested us. We got bail. And we were in court. No, they called us in on Thursday. And we were in court on Friday. That's how it went. They called us on Thursday, arrested us on Thursday, and the next morning we were before the court. Well orchestrated and arranged. Yet here is Mr. Reed.
And the gentleman, and taking so long.
From 2019. They can't even settle on whether he is to be tried.
I'll let him try. I'm going to sing like a canary.
All right. So I watch the system when it is on trial because I know that is where the real problem is. And one individual or another, that the faces change. You don't even have to notice who's standing in the box.
But the
system must be enduring.
Let me ask you something. People have said, I've heard this comment over many years, that the people who go into Parliament set the system and rules that they cannot be brought to book.
That's what we're talking about here.
So you think that is
it's a legitimate complaint. Yes, it is. And it's also why we shy away from constitutional reform, because when we go into constitutional reform and we have to open up these concepts and structures to scrutiny, and well-thinking, educated people are pulling it apart to say, okay, what do I want to keep? How does it work? What is the purpose of it? Then now you're going to have to give up some of these things. You see, it's like they went into the wage, this compensation reform initiative, well needed, a necessity.
And we agree.
It ought to be done. They go into it and they can't control it now. You can't control it when people see what you're really doing.
Because they're seeing your motivations. Why are you doing what you're doing?
And when you try to hold on to it, can you reasonably say, I want to hold on to it this way without exposing your bad heart?
Because that's what it is doing.
Yeah.
Because everybody's saying it's a good thing. But a good thing for who? That's the question. It's a good thing for who?
Well, the government is always counting on taxpayers to say, we don't want to pay no more.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing, you know. The government would say to you, well, if you want them to be paid well, it's coming out of your pocket. Which is true. No, there's no minister who have to put a dime on the table when we say this is not right or this is unfair. And they are always counting on us to be small-minded enough to say, boy, we can't afford that. We're a poor country. We're always a poor country when we have to pay people for the value they give.
When they're ready to hive it off of themselves and
we're
to
not
land
support.
grab and things.
Yes. So that's why, like, I'm speaking in this vein, because I think citizens need to recognize now that it is our money, and we should have a hand in making sure that the people who serve us are well taken care of, and we should have a hand in plucking out of the system the ones who are abusing the authority and wasting the resources, so that whatever we have can do much better.
We can do much better, and it is agreed by everybody. People who live here, people come and see and says, we can do much better by ourselves, but it is the leadership. Let's call it out. It's the leadership and the motivations of the person who lead us who are causing us not to have done well for ourselves.
Conrad is saying something here.
Yeah, because people come here and say, you throw something on the ground, it grows. Anywhere in Jamaica. You don't find that in...
You know, even though you're living in Canada, Conrad, and yes, I celebrate with you that restrictions drop so you can come home now and spend the winter with us. It's such a beautiful thing, what you're saying. He says any place in the world where you can eat a fruit, drop it on the ground, drop the seed on the ground, and it just grow is worth fighting for.
That's
and
true.
All the way there in Canada, your brother Conrad says, Jamaica, I will die for you. Tell Andrew, well, what? And he says we can tell it to our leaders.
Yes.
That's it. That there's one man all the way in Canada who would die for us.
Yeah.
We have to keep him safe in Canada because maybe he's the one man who's going to die for us. Because the other ones here are looking a bit dodgy.
No, but it is a serious thing.
Yeah.
Because that point you made, it's not the person, it's the system. It's always the system.
The system is always on trial, and we saw it with young Roshane.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a system that says when you plead guilty quickly, you get a discount, he has avoided the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can we live with that? People are upset about it. Can we live with that?
So you could contend and say when the DPP says she's going for
the death penalty.
It was a show.
Well, listen, she was feeding the energy of the people who were so upset. But the truth is, whether she said it or not, his defense attorney had a duty to say to him, you see, in this situation here, you need to move quickly and take responsibility so that you can get mercy. Show yourself to be deserving of mercy. But, the victims have their own loss that they're contending with. And how you accommodate the concerns of victims is another thing. That was also on trial because the people were, I don't know that anyone had sat with them to say, this is the lie of the land. And we had said we have a victim support unit.
And they're working, I just, as you said it, I want for them to come because I was exposed to all the services and what they're doing. Because in every parish, there's a victim support unit that works with families in different areas. And
you think it is within the realm of possibility that the victim support unit said, if you kill him, watch and see. See, the DPP said them are going to kill him.
I don't know. We don't know what it.
I ask it because you know that every Jamaican grandmother is a woman of God.
Mm-hmm.
Even, some of the sinful women of God. But I saw her so heartbroken, not understanding that this was a possibility.
Somebody never sat with her and explained.
And I just wondered, did someone sit with her and take her through what's likely? Mm-hmm. Because, sitting here I knew, but then I have knowledge of the law, but sitting there I could see what would come.
So probably we could invite somebody from Victim Support Unit to come and to explain the work that they do and what is available, because in terms of education of the general public, in terms of what is available, and they help.
Or maybe your Victim Support Unit could contact the lady and have a session with her.
Oh, yeah.
She needs to understand.
Yeah,
She
right.
needs better understanding. The community, Jamaica needs a better understanding of what transpired with Barrett. I'm still calling him Barnett.
Roshane.
With Roshane. We need a better understanding of what has transpired.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're coming down to the wire. We're going to open the lines in a little while. So we just want to do a quick recap, if we can.
If God is for you.
If God is for you, who can succeed against us? How do you know, Pastor, when God is for you?
In your heart. With the peace that comes from knowing that God is on your side and the relationship that you have with him. The relationship that you foster as you walk in obedience to what he has revealed in his word to you.
Boy, there's so much you've said there. Because you have to know his word.
Yeah.
So you can understand what's been revealed in his word.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be standing in that place where even if you are under great pressure, you know whether you are being punished or you are being tested.
Mm-hmm. Like it tested Joseph in Psalms 105. It says the word that was spoken tested it to prove it. And then it says, I've overcome. It's opening up.
Yes, that's a bad habit I have.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, we just want you to
be aware.
Be very aware of the season we're in, the rainy season, the season we're in. Understand that the saturation of the ground is going to have some long-term consequences in the sense that roads are already failing under pressure. Even your house, who now gonna get new leaks and have plumbing. And I watched a man mourning the disappearance of one of the rooms that he had built on his house. This was in a home in Clarendon that seems to be on the edge of either a river or a canal or whatever, a waterway. And he said it was a perennial problem. He had complained and sought assistance with it, but he watched one of the rooms
just
wash away, cement that he had wash away, and he was talking about having had conversations with the MP or councillor or some political type.
And the other thing in terms of the wage deal.
And then the wage deal. So some stresses are ahead, and we want you to be positioned in your sober mind and hanging on to your authority so we can work together to make some changes. This is the 8 a.m. break, so please stay with us. It's our longest break, your time to refresh yourself and be energized for the callers that are going to come and test us this morning.
A difference you can hear.
Best FM. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. A major Baltic pipeline, Nord Stream 1, has been hit by leaks at 2 points, a day after a similar leak affected its sister pipeline. Neither is currently in operation. Danish officials say such leaks are extremely rare. The latest incidents coincide with the inauguration of a key pipeline taking gas from Norway to Poland. Poland's Prime Minister, Mateusz Morawiecki, suggested the Nord Stream leaks were suspicious.
Dziś mamy też do czynienia z aktem sabotażu.
Today we are facing an act of sabotage. We don't know the details of what happened, but we know sabotage took place, which probably means another step in the escalation of the war in Ukraine.
Mamy do czynienia na Ukrainie.
The Kremlin spokesman described the leaks as concerning. The president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has said his country has to ensure the safety of large numbers of Russians who've crossed the border in recent days. The influx follows the announcement last week by President Vladimir Putin of the mobilization of hundreds of thousands of men to fight in Ukraine. Danny Eberhardt reports.
Kazakhstan's Interior Ministry says 98,000 Russians have crossed the border since the mobilization announcement. President Tokayev said the situation was difficult but wasn't a crisis. He's described it as a humanitarian issue, promising to take care of Russians who, he said, were fleeing a hopeless situation. His comments are unlikely to go down well with President Putin, who stepped in with troops earlier this year to help prop up Mr. Tokayev's government at a time of serious unrest. Mr. Tokayev opposes Russia's war in Ukraine.
Police in Germany have searched one of the world's biggest yachts, the Dilbar, which is owned by the Russian billionaire Alisher Usmanov. The operation, involving 60 officers, is part of an investigation into alleged money laundering and tax evasion. The German authorities seized the 155-metre-long yacht earlier this year. Mr. Usmanov is suspected of having evaded more than $500 million in taxes in Germany. Lawyers representing an army commander charged with committing atrocities in the Central African Republic are outlining their defence at the International Criminal Court. Mohamed Said Abdelkhani is accused of running a detention centre where supporters of the former president, Francois Bozizé, were tortured. Anna Holligan reports from the court.
Mohamed Said watched from the back of the courtroom as his lawyers accused the prosecution of presenting a case full of bias, far from the reality of what happened in the Central African Republic. A failure to analyse the chaos and criminality in the country, to understand the wider context, his lawyer, Dov Jacobs, told the judges, was counterproductive to justice. On Monday, the prosecutor showed photographs of the alleged torture of civilians. The former commander has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
BBC News. The head of the World Trade Organization has added her voice to warnings of a looming global recession. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said she expected international trade forecasts to be revised downwards because of the fuel and food crisis sparked by Russia's war in Ukraine. Thousands of people, including dozens of world leaders, have attended the state funeral of Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He was shot dead in July. Mr. Abe's widow carried his ashes into the Budokan Arena in Tokyo. The event went ahead despite noisy demonstrations against the significant cost of the ceremony. But many other mourners queued to pay their respects to Mr. Abe. Aki Shizuoki is one of his former policy advisors and a member of the Japanese parliament.
Prime Minister Abe was my first boss in politics. He was also a very close friend of my father. I think the nation also owes him greatly for bringing back a lot of confidence, not only in the economy, but also in terms of diplomacy and national security. I think we all mourn the loss of a historically great leader.
The Speaker of Parliament in Lebanon, Nabi Berri, has called for a session to be held this Thursday to elect a new president. The 6-year term of the current president, Michel Aoun, finishes at the end of next month, but no consensus has yet been reached on who might replace him. Deadlock over appointing a new president would add to Lebanon's political and financial crisis. The remains of dozens of indigenous people from New Zealand whose bodies were stolen in the late 19th century will begin a journey home from Austria today. New Zealand's ambassador in Vienna will attend a handover ceremony for the Maori and Moriori remains, which have been kept in the city's Natural History Museum. 49 of the bodies were taken by Andreas Reichek, a notorious grave robber. BBC News.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Warning, warning. When there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker. And before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, live a bank or low line area. If you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Do you need reliable health care? We have it. Yes, we do. Great George Street Pharmacy. Shop number 897 Great George Street, Savannah, Lamar, Westmoreland. Opening hours, Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 876-603-7372 or WhatsApp us at 876-205-0499. Yes, we have reliable health care for you at Great George Street Pharmacy, Savannah, Lamar.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. We are going to open the lines now. The numbers to call, please remember them, 619-1508 and 279-8473. I was entertaining myself rather generously, reading my friend Gordon Robinson's article about the Rocky Mead situation. Gordon is commenting, well, maybe unkindly, some might say, on the fact that Rocky Mead did accept the job and was at work when he declined the offer. But, you know, we in our very gracious mode have said, let the man remove himself from the scene with dignity. He did the right thing. No need to pick over the details. And the Prime Minister, we hope, would learn. But Gordon went on to say, this coming in on the heel of the Kamina caper, or the the run for Secretary General of the Commonwealth. It's saying something about the Prime Minister and the administration's way of doing things. A question he asks is, did the Prime Minister take legal advice before or after?
I don't think he
from
did.
Whom? What was he advised? What does it mean?
Dr.
And that's
Mark
why
I've told him no.
And that is why I constantly say that the system is on trial.
Yeah.
Because when you see decisions being taken like that, you have to ask, by what process? By what process are we coming to these places?
And he continues to make the same mistakes.
Yeah. So then, are they mistakes? maybe they're not mistakes. That is
True.
a deliberate, well thought out approach to things,
Very much
which we keep rejecting, but we have got to do the ultimate rejection for it to end. Veracast has bought CVM. CVM has new owners. I am old enough to remember the birth of CVM. Do you remember the birth of CVM?
Yes, because I'm older than you.
Yes, but you might, because you're older than me, you might have forgotten.
Naturally. But Veracast is the same Oliver.
We love our old people. Who yesterday was saying we shouldn't be referring to them.
As old, they're mature.
Don't talk about
Oliver McIntosh and that group in he started
Yes,
sports.
we have a caller on the line.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, good morning to both of you.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
morning, sir.
Yes. I couldn't classify as a new caller. It's the second time I'm calling, you know.
Oh,
Okay.
welcome.
But I don't call a long while, but I've always listened.
Thank you very much for supporting us.
And so I must say I do appreciate the way you handle the program.
Thank you, sir.
Tolerance and humility.
Wow, thank you.
And the practical ways or you and the relative views that you put forward and very informative. No. I'm not a ordinary man in the street. I mean, I'll deal with when I'm going to express on it is.
Come on, go ahead, man.
It is crime and crime and in the extension. Beneficial related to a penal institution.
Yes.
But part of crime, one would say, is that over. It could be. Some would say it could be discussed as an over discussed matter, but something that it was so. And also, like we say, grace is a discussed matter in religion, but you never need those things. You never need, that's always need grace. So, so that's overused. That's my own opinion. Anyway, crime thing now, as both of you know, we are in a very bad situation. And because of the crime rate now, Jamaica is now around, about number 5 in the entire world. And because of so traffic that you go for number 1 or 2. Presently. Yeah. Now, in relation to the penal institution now, we have a penal institution that we all know that we are in dear need of a new one.
Yes.
Dear need. And as I say, crime really about all different things. Now, more guns and bullets. We are desperate things are coming from our security minister. Desperate measures.
Yes. Yeah.
And that, you leave hanging there and someone can put it all kind of way and come back and clarify what it really means.
Yeah.
What is the word of desperation? And as I say, more guns and bullets and whatever, and all it, and well, very shortly will be passed in a monetary sentence of gun crime. But no question of gun. No. The penal institution now, as we all know, both of us, General Penitentiary and the St. District Prison.
Yes.
The Penitentiary now about 2.5 times to understand capacity.
That's true.
It was built to accommodate 800. I don't know, probably can inform me academy, but 8 and now it is double that and 2.5 times that. The St. Catherine one I was made to understand was built to about 5 actually in May. That's for double that 2.5 times. No, as I said earlier on, we hear all those things, but when you hear anything about rehabilitation, is rehabilitation not a part of crime, of fighting crime?
It is.
Of course.
Has to be.
Yes, it is. It is. And you're touching on a big issue here for us, because it's one thing to be careful of containing the criminals, but are we preparing to integrate them with society? Are we trying to break behaviors that could prevent them from coming back into prison? You don't see enough of it, but there is a very robust and I would say it modern policy that looks at rehabilitation, but we're not seeing the impact of it. When you speak to the correctional officers, and I've spoken to 1 or 2 of them, their hearts are in the right place for some of them. It is what they want to do. It is, but they talk about the resources. you know, you can just imagine if we out here, I walk street, I suffer for the right allocation of resources to the needs of the country. Can you imagine what is happening behind bars?
Yes, rightly so. So as I was saying here, all the talk about the different measures being taken, steps, more guns and bullets, longer sentence. But you hear nobody at all meant
rehabilitation. It's an important thing, because interestingly, my brother, there is a person who just completed their PhD, and I'm gonna invite her in terms of what has happened in terms of the rehabilitation of a lot of the people. And there have been some success cases, but she's contending we've not placed enough resources there because a lot of people who go into prison, and we just have to get the stats, are first offenders, and some of them can be rehabilitated. I recently, out of my personal experience, did a wedding for a gentleman who had spent 5 years behind bars, and he was so convinced he wouldn't want that for him worst enemy, and he's on a path of true rehabilitation with his wife and thing, and having a very excellent future in terms of what he's slated to do.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, I mean, you're the security minister, no one mentioned about that. Because you can imagine a film if you will to achieve people, and we having 8. Was just someone the other day, and them say, in the cell, the prisoners have to be wearing them boxer and marina because it is so hot.
Yeah.
And hot. When you make it 3, you have 6 or 7 persons to a cell.
Yeah, man, I know what you're talking about.
Boxer and shorts, and some of them have just boxer and shorts with no marina, so with marina, nothing else because it is so hot.
Yeah, no. and they don't have beds. You saw in the report the other day, they said the sinks, the basins to wash your face were being used as the toilets. So the conditions are horrible. We don't have sufficient capacity. And there is talk of building a new prison, but one new prison doesn't answer what it is you're talking about. It has a lot to do with how we take care of the prisoners.
Yes, very briefly, I'm going to go on about that in a sense.
Go ahead.
In a sense of time.
Yeah.
Just touch on that. But probably someone will come down on me or someone else will say whatever. But as I'm saying, the institution was
promised by Mr. Blair.
The institution was promised was
Britain.
From England.
Yes.
Okay. What we do know is that both governments refuse it.
Mm-hmm.
But from in my humble can recollect. None of them didn't tell you the main reason why they refuse.
The real reason. Yes.
But both of them do admit that they do need.
It's needed. It's needed. Yes.
And secondly, what both of them also admit, to build that institution right now, they don't have the money. Both of them admit that it will be a very costly venture, and they don't have the money to build it just now. Both administration admit to that.
Yes, that's true.
But both of them refuse it. In my own opinion, in my own thinking, I can have an idea why. One of the reasons why they refuse it. But refusing it, and you don't have the money to build one, So let me think then, when you turn it down.
Yeah, if you refuse it and you recognize the need for it, you should then be announcing how you're going to solve that need.
Yes, right. So, and both of you admit that they need one right now. They need one. But,
yes.
And I don't have repeating myself. They say they don't have the money to build one at this time.
Yeah.
So I'm just being practical and realistic then. When you turn it down then?
Yes.
We will turn it down.
Yeah.
And I will guess they have valid reason, probably reason why they turn it down. But they don't. But they don't say it.
Yeah.
They say where is when you turn it down? They just don't accept it. They don't accept it from England. But but they admit that they need one, and they don't have the money just to build it. Understand?
Yes.
And as me say, it's a bare case, a bare need right now.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Everybody's talking about it. I mean, in the courts, the prosecutors, everybody's saying you are putting all these measures in place. You want to be tougher on crime, but then where are we going to put the people and how quickly can we deal with them? It creates a real stress on the system. Thank you, my brother, for raising that point.
I'm going to go now. Just the last point.
Yes.
With the new monetary sentence that is aligned to
the gun crimes.
It is envisaged that the prison population is going to increase.
Yes, because people will be staying there longer.
Yes.
Right. So if your guests are staying longer, you're going to run out of bed sheets.
Bed sheets are cardboard. Thank you, my brother.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hearing me.
Yes,
no problem. Good
Thank
point.
Yes, sir.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
All right. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Jigsaw.
The team, the staff, and the listeners.
They say good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. I didn't know what you guys are. All right. Okay. Long live the king.
Well, that was a very artful hesitation.
May he not escape the fire that's burning from his foot bottom to the top of his crown in the process for reparation and repatriation. Justly needed, justly demanded to get it done.
True.
And he might be just the man to do it. Fresh foot on the ground.
Yes. Well, 73-year-old foot, but...
Fresh to the job.
I like what you said. I like what you call him fresh-footed.
Honestly, to have the responsibility here.
Do you know anything of how he thinks based on, what we see in the public, to hazard a guess at what he will do?
I think we're pushing. We'll get something out of it.
Ah.
He has he's carrying some baggage and handicap.
Yes.
And he probably wanted something to pause over it.
A redemption, some kind of redemptive move.
Right.
Yes. I have a feeling that somewhere in the genealogy we're gonna see some shifts. One person had said they see Harry looking troubled.
Harry is troubled.
And
Harry wouldn't be a trouble solid. Maybe it's not dealing with it a little bit different. Right?
No, I'm just thinking in terms of conscience. Who has the conscience to begin speaking and to begin showing that something new is required?
Yeah, but unfortunately, there's a lot of things get covered up in times past. Less so now.
Yeah.
So they're more exposed. And the dirty linen or underskirt is showing.
How are you faring with the weather, sir?
Oh, I live in Italian. I just stay put.
All right, that sounds good.
I might want to be out there today, but I want to get it done. Not all that good.
Go ahead with your points.
Yeah, in terms of how we build out the infrastructure and roads, and we get an understanding from the people who have responsibility to these things. You build drains before you build roads, right? And those who are building now, right? I think they will have some good examples. They look at the old Sandigal structure, how they have stood up over the last over 60 years. And so we cover them up with carpet. And we can pattern what we do from that same city. Well, I can't speak for outline years, but I imagine the same thing. And one thing we're doing with development, we're putting it in areas where we get excessive rain ponds. Therefore, we have a greater need for drainage. And the drainage that we have 20, 30 years ago, it needs to be, the other level that you would put it in, need to be expanded now because all the water is coming on the road, and there's no trees to allow for absorption. Concrete and tile and things everywhere in all the premises.
Yeah. And just so they put in new structures and they don't take that the runoff will increase, and places that water used to run freely have now been blocked up because their houses.
Yeah, because of how they built.
Yeah.
How they built. People building walls and things right across where drainage used to take place naturally.
Yeah.
So you need to organize yourself, man.
Yeah, man.
It costs a bit more, but I bet you spend the money there and spending it to do
rehabilitation. Prevention better than cure.
Right?
Yeah. Prevention is better than cure.
It's crazy. So if it means you have to take longer to do it, it takes longer. That means because you can't do these things in single budget cycles, you know. We're doing it's about 3 cycles, so you have the funds and you can organize and you can implement when you got to go. You can't be sitting on the weekend on money to come out every April to do what you need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
At least you must be committed.
Yeah, yeah. So
you need to wake up and get that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll let somebody else get in. I want to say something about the prison, but I'll leave that be for now.
Thank you very much, Jigsaw.
Okay.
All right.
Keep it going.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Stay safe and dry.
Good. Yeah, I'll try.
Okay. All right. Before the next call comes in, I just want to share with you a letter writer to the Gleaner, Alvin Gregory is the name, has described the Rocky Mead appointment as an own goal scored by the Holiness.
How many other own goals have they scored anyway?
He didn't do a tally, but
I think they probably gone 6 of already.
But he very usefully makes the point that in 1993, P.J. Patterson tapped Carlton Davis to be the cabinet secretary, and Carlton Davis was at the time working with the Bauxite Institute, Jamaica Bauxite Institute. And he describes that as not being a part of the civil service. I'm not sure that is so, though. I think the Bauxite Institute is a Jamaican. It's a public sector company.
Yeah, it's public
sector.
It's
time for our 8:30 break. We just got the sign, so we'll be right back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turntables activated. Ready. You're about to party. A hurricane we name. How we rough. Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you to know that. We come up and mash up building, blow down things and death life. Flood out this. We no ram. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Hot Prem and prepare. Hurricanes do happen, so be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. God is good. This is already pastor and friend, Reverend Simon Peter Jones, inviting you, my friends, to listen every Tuesday evening on Best 100 FM at 7:30 p.m. for the program, The Voice of Hope, as we extend hope to the hopeless in this dying world. God is good. Be encouraged. Hope is in the Lord.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Or a
better choice in all your electrical supplies. A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and to the callers on the line, thank you for holding.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Rachel, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thinking of heading out. I'm hoping it holds up before I come back.
I thought it meant you're going to England.
Soon.
Oh, for Christmas?
You going for the call?
To meet my new grandchild.
Oh,
okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I want to say to you both, I heard a man talking to you about the prison system.
Yes.
And I am wondering if persons who are in charge of the prison system, it's not just about sentencing, but it's also about rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And to be reformed. Well, I know someone who has been going to prison since his teenage years, and he's 67.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
When they say going to prison, going to do ministry in the prison?
No, going as an inmate.
Mm-hmm.
Since he was in his teens and backward and forward until today. And he's a professional scammer. But guess what? He gets help from the system to do his scamming, because while he's in prison,
he continues.
He continues, and he was able to contact people from inside there, doing business from inside there, phoning people from outside, getting newspapers to look into, to see who owns what, who is who, so he knows more about people than their neighbor.
So the corruption that we see outside of the prison in the general free population is the same thing behind bars.
It's the same thing behind bars, and worse.
Yes.
And so I want to know, why aren't they even putting an attachment to the buildings where the people are when they're supposed to do their time? They're supposed to do some kind of training. And what do you do with a man that the judge say they think they should lock him up and throw away the key? And some people might be saying to the judge, what a wicked man or woman, but they don't know how wicked the person that they're dealing with are.
Yes. Well, you know that in other societies, they set regulations and standards that have to do with how many times you are before the court for the same kind of offense. And it affects sentencing.
Well, I think they should think about keeping them to work. If they have no family, have no children, have no one to really stand up and outside and accept this person, you have no home, have nowhere. Build a dormitory like they do in the Catholic business.
You're saying
for them to live.
You say
work.
Keep the person, like give them life imprisonment for fraud?
No, give them when they've done their time.
Yes.
instead of let them out, keep them closer so you can keep an eye on them.
So now you're looking at an infringement of fundamental rights and freedoms. If a person has served their time, I understand what you're saying, but what we don't want to do is create a greater transgression trying to solve one problem, because I'm hearing it's an echo on the line.
I'm speaking. Sorry to cut you, but I'm speaking about repeating
recidivism.
Yes,
but there are
compassion.
Yeah, there are strategies for dealing with recidivism that would not involve.
Turn off your radio, Rachel. Your radio is on. We are hearing it in the background, whatever it is.
No, it's far.
We're still hearing it.
I'm hearing an echo, doubling up on the line, but I don't know if it's the radio. I think it might be something else.
Yeah, because the room is hollow.
Right, and I don't hear her voice. I only hear ours.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's something to do with the phone, because I've been having problems getting through to you even when your line is free.
So, but here's what I want to say. You've touched on a real problem. But it's not just recidivism, even with that gentleman. It might be that is someone whose only way of making a living is by his wits, which involve scamming people. Let's put it that way.
No, but it's not. It's not. This is a person who can design even building. You're talking about somebody who went to a good school and was properly trained and knows everything how to do stuff.
Wow.
Well,
anything to do with real estate, he knows, to do with property and even surveying where he didn't go to school for.
Yes. A lifetime criminal is what you're saying.
I'm talking about someone that has been repeatedly putting other people's life a misery.
Yeah.
Robbed his own family.
Yes.
I mean, no one is excused. What do you do with somebody like that who gets help from inside the prison?
Well, what you do about the inside help from the prison is a different thing, because that's people reporting it, calling the names of the officers and the individuals who are a part of it. That's the whistleblowing that Jamaicans have not really used to their best advantage, and there are reasons for that too. I'm not saying it's easy. But in other societies where you have repeat offenders in an area that requires special attention, they would do, the 3 strikes you're out, where the sentence, the severity of the sentence gets higher, harder, harsher when you've reached a certain level. But outside of that, it is for society to be aware of certain persons and take the necessary precaution, because unless they have committed a crime and been convicted of a crime, they should not be incarcerated.
Well, that person definitely is. As soon as he's let out, he's back in again. And it seems to be a repeating thing, but I'm saying there must be a psychologist that can deal with such a person.
Yeah.
There must be.
There must be in the system. All right, Rachel. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you've had to meet an individual like that.
Terrible thing.
Yeah.
Terrible thing.
I once dealt with a case where the person before the court had been accused of an action which involved a senior officer, and it seems the police knew, because he told them that the money I collected, I gave it to my superior officer in the prison system, and in the end the case was dropped, which tells me that there is an unwillingness to. They don't want to. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Rachel.
But anytime.
Have a good morning.
You
Thank
too,
you.
my dear.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to your listeners and your valuable callers.
Good morning, sir.
You know, with the state of the world now, we see, we are in an economic collapse worldwide. And based on what is going on in the government and the banking system, we have to be very careful Now, Miss Minette, you see that case that the NHT won?
Yes.
It's going to cause a lot of security guards to lose their work. Because the liquidity that is needed to drive that industry is not on the ground. It's in the bankers, Jamaica, in the vault.
Yeah,
that are in 6% interest.
You know, I spoke with a friend of mine who owns a security company about 2 weeks ago. I was trying to get a security officer to do something for another friend of mine. And he said to me, I do not have the manpower. If you know people who are looking for jobs, I will train them. I have a training institution. I put them through training. He does not have enough men to cover the ground. So what you're talking about may have already happened.
They don't have the money to pay the men to cover the ground.
No, his was not I don't have the money. His was I need people.
No, nobody.
You don't have anybody?
No, nobody at all.
Miss Minette, Pastor, listeners, there's a rental crisis in Portmore as I speak there. A lot of tenants who live in Portmore, they stop pay bills. All they're focusing on in food, and it bottlenecking the landlord's bills. And when the landlord gives them notice, they run to the rent board, and it seems as if the rent board and the landlords are at odds. And it's going to cause a lot of social problem in Portmore.
So how did you become aware? Tell me how you became aware. Tell me how you became aware of this crisis. How is it manifesting?
Quarreling. Several times passing several homes and yet the landlords quarreling with the tenants. When the water rate comes, they must pay their share of the water rate. They pay a piece of what they want to pay, and they leave the next piece hanging, and they don't know nothing about credit rating, that these people, the landlord, they have their mortgages to pay, which is rising on them, and they have to protect their credit ratings. How important is credit ratings in the system, Pastor?
Very important. Credit.
A lot of people in Jamaica don't understand nothing about their credit rating. I know that is going to be more important when we have a need to come in and to borrow money and to move transaction around. They don't understand that. They just believe in that they can owe you and you know if you say nothing.
Wow.
If you owe the government $1, you have to pay an interest for your morning. That's how governments work. Governments don't pay people and say you can owe them till next week the same flat money because they know the value and the time value of money. Second thing I want to tell you.
Yes.
The Eurozone, upon which we depend on for a lot of remittances, is under pressure. All the currency in the Eurozone going down to zero, while the American dollar is strengthening. You know what that is doing to our economy?
But I thought we relied more on the American.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, but the American dollar become more expensive to our economy. And we have to pay back more in debt without a drain being clean or a bill being rich. So we have to stop being this nasty as a people.
Oh, so you're
because what is happening this morning as we speak is that the government ministers and the government councillors are who control the taxpayer money. You know, a lot of them have private vehicles that is going around to clean the drain and the rubbish now and making millions off of the rain while the average Jamaican suffering.
So you're saying...
It is a system design.
So what you're saying, let me see if you're clarifying what you're saying to us. We have a responsibility to ensure that we are cleaning as we're going along because the mess that is created is putting money into somebody else's pocket. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, true. Yeah, exploitation. They use our nastiness to exploit us.
Wow.
They never like the fact that we still don't gravitate to the vaccine. And they say most of us is sick. Okay. And you are a violent set of people. You talk about the prison. Look here, man. When you go to public, like my 79-year-old mother, when she done a public the other day, and she have 3 diseases in her body, heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. She said, so when the prisoner them come never, You have to wait till the prisoner them go see the doctor before you can go see the doctor. So the prisoners get 3 meals a day, 24-hour security, and a guaranteed pension till them dead, while the old people them don't have public and wait till prisoner get through. Country can run, sir.
Interesting.
Country can run, sir.
I've never heard it expressed that way.
I'm telling you what is happening on the ground. If myself right now, me a 58 pastor, Miss Minute, listener. And my mother begged me, don't dead before. She said, never stop, call them sure. They will kill you.
Okay.
Don't dead before me because you dead before me, boy. Me don't know me got money. Can you imagine that in Jamaica?
It's a reality in a lot of people.
So let me ask you this, pastor, as a man of God. Come Friday, the Pope taking out all of his money out of the Italian banks and trying to put on their mattress in the Vatican. The Italian changed them prime minister and the economy is tumbling. And the Catholic Church is now telling its members worldwide to watch the banking system. Your church telling your members to watch the banking system?
Always.
All right, you know that CVM was bought because of a scam?
Because of a storm?
Yeah, there was a storm that came and wrecked Cayman. It missed Jamaica and got wrecked Cayman. And most of the insurance in Cayman was owned by a group in Jamaica named the UGI Group, run by Never Blight. You remember that company? And when the Cayman people put claim on UGI Group, General Accident, they went in bankruptcy and had to borrow money from a certain shareholder, a Canadian company. And that's how they acquire CVM. You know that?
You are telling us, we don't know.
Them go bankrupt in a storm.
Okay.
Yeah, Never Blight company named the UGI Group, a black man company. The African males in this country who going into these condemned prisons, Ministry of Health say on the prison not good. In the prison don't fit for human consumption. They just sing the African male in it because they don't value us. They don't value us at all. We are what they call the least of the apostles, the most endangered species on earth.
So what?
Politics do we that? What we have to do? Pastor?
Take responsibility for ourselves. Change the situation. Change your mindset.
How you go about changing the mindset, Pastor? I want to give you one suggestion.
Yeah.
Some of the people them around you who name family like how them wake up this morning and vex because they don't have no money and rain go fall. You just hold them by the hand and drag them along with you.
Okay, so we're going together.
Yeah, we're dragging you in the mud to make you enter the 23rd world. Because by 2050, me there, you know. So me have 10 boy pick me now. Who me adopt under my personal asset. Nobody paying for my losses. And me say, you see the 10 now, no? We don't know none of the God, man. Come with Neville. Let me show you how to enter 2030 world. Without you going to them filthy prisoners, them shoot you in the street. And they're coming with me, you know.
And you're empowering them.
That is part of my legacy.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm hitting the road now.
Okay.
You take care.
All right.
All right, Neville. Thank you.
Importance of what we're talking about, Miss Minute. Personal responsibility, empowering yourselves, understanding knowledge of self to move forward.
Well, I mean, Neville mentioned a number of things there that, you know, it's like a free flow of words that you just randomly associate them with, but everything points back to corruption. Talking about the garbage pile up on the street that is being cleared by private contractors that are owned by politicians who don't make the right provisions for the streets to be cleaned in the first place.
Yeah.
And earlier we were talking about FID and how FID is a department of government that investigates high-value transactions, which are typically handled by friends of powerful people or powerful people in politics themselves, and then you end up prosecuting because you shouldn't have been looking at it in the first place. It's just a minefield of how we tie ourselves up into contortions and then frustrate the tracking of things.
You probably need a Hercules where just use him sword and just cut the Georgian knot.
The Gordian
knot.
The Gordian knot.
Not the Georgian, the Gordian knot.
No,
yeah.
The
Just
Georgian one is a different one. But let's look back at what we were saying about the situation of stress that looms large.
Yes.
Neville talked about a rent crisis in Portmore. And he talked about credit rating. A credit rating is meaningless to a person who would never be eligible to borrow money anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Credit rating have importance to persons who are positioned to borrow money.
Mm-hmm.
So, you track how you pay your car loan, how you pay certain utilities, credit cards. The banks themselves are policing it. To the man who is having a hard time paying rent, credit rating is hardly.
Don't mean a thing to him.
Yeah. And if you have to defer rent so you can pay for food, oh my God, that is...
You're on the edge.
Yeah, rent don't stand a chance. But there is a policy against homelessness. Every country has a policy against homelessness, meaning you exercise every discretion to keep people
off the streets.
Thank you. So if you go to the rent board is going to say notice, and if you go to court is going to say give him time, and if you go back, court is going to say what steps did you take, how can you, and so on. We need to bring ourselves to the position now where if you have a tenant in your house and the tenant is not able to put money in your hand, you got to figure out what you can work out with your tenant.
It's important.
Yeah.
But a deeper issue is
and people need to share. People going to have to share houses where you know maybe one person can't afford it by themselves, but two could.
Mm.
So we have to learn to live better with one another.
Intergenerational mortgages.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, no?
What?
Intergenerational mortgages. People have put that on the table in terms of...
Yeah. That's not new. I mean, it is... a mother and a son buy a house together and it continues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but...
Just have to learn to live better. Everything is pointing us towards...
Better relationships
with one another so we can survive together as opposed to, being at odds with one another.
Because we're going to go far. Because there has emerged, and I was in another forum and we were commenting on it in terms of how different ethnic groups deal with the accumulation of wealth.
Yes.
And so we, as people of African descent here in Jamaica, because it seems like they do it differently in Africa, that we have to band together, look out for each other, support each other, and be careful to bring family in it. Because it's me, myself, and my family. I don't think about spreading it and involving people. That over the long term, we will survive. And you go back to the study that you needed to do. Remember that study?
Which one?
Businesses.
Oh, yes. But remember, Dr. Julius Garvey promised me that he would put the weight of Garvey TV and assist. So I've been working through that. The university professors have agreed to continue on board. That reminds me, we need to schedule a meeting in the course of this week. It took a while to bring everybody's attention to it, but that study will be done. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We are in construction. When we say construction must boom in this country here.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Pay their rent. A lot of people cannot pay them rent, and construction is one of the backbone of this country here. And we are fighting against that because leeching and go to build house because he have cash and can help himself and help others. Because the house that built over Portmore there, he helped my sister, he helped Matalan, and he helped who buy the house from my sister. So life goes on, and it go on with stepping like you're climbing a tall step.
I think you started making your point as if you and I were in conversation before.
No,
what's the point you're addressing?
You're talking from ever since.
What's the point you are addressing? That persons can pay rent or can't pay rent?
We must make consumption come heavy in this country here.
So who's going to buy it? If persons cannot pay rent, My brother, stay with me on this because I'm not following your logic. If persons cannot pay rent, no, we're not gonna do it this way, my brother.
I don't have sufficient funds.
No, but then what you have to say need to fit in a context and make sense. You started by saying people can't pay rent.
You see Cayman Island, Manchester, bigger than it. And right now, you go there as a even common laborer, and you can come back here in maybe college 3 years and put up a little thing for yourself. And anybody who go there, mean themselves go there.
So Sheppy, where people gonna get the money from to buy the house? People can't pay rent. How them gonna buy the house?
But
so you're building houses.
Leaching. I go boom with construction in this country.
For whom?
Jamaica much brighter, and we, the poor man, can get a little job there, they can't pay him rent.
Oh, so that's all you want us to do? Get a little job on a construction site to pay rent. You don't want us to buy a house?
When we go to Cayman, when we go to Cayman, they take me right there. We go back to Cayman. We can't go to the car. They call me the best styler from Jamaica.
So you don't. So what about being able to survive in Jamaica? We can't all go to Cayman. You said Cayman. You just said that. You just said Cayman is not as big as Manchester. So how many of us can go there?
Allow leaching, boost bill house and sell Jamaican and foreigner. Jamaican will get work.
But Sheppy,
let us boost those things.
But Sheppy, you're fighting.
They can't pay him rent.
Sheppy, you're supporting something that Mr. Leachin says he's not doing. Mr. Leachin says I am committed to. Mr. Leachin says I am committed to the agricultural project. I am not building houses. And you because you are such a supporter. You are such a supporter. You don't even recognize that Mr. Leachin is not fighting for it. You're fighting for something he's not fighting for.
We have to fight for it because I have the money already. I want to help us. That itself already and they have to expand.
Sheppy, me can't help you.
Sheppy, we don't know what's going to be done for you.
What they want to hear the fight on the radio when about going to lead you off here.
Yeah, but why are you coming to my? Why are you coming to us to defend something that not even Mr.
Because we usually live happy first time. And every to make a muckle. So what am I going to do? We can write up in me one song I fight, you know.
Yeah, one song. We're up on the break.
And one pair of shoes walk off my feet.
All right, Sheppy. All right, we're taking our break now, my brother.
I can't be friend.
We're taking our break now. We're taking the break now.
A difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, river bank, or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Easy!
Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer the truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose a problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, caller. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Cruz.
Yes, Cruz. How are you?
Cruising along.
What?
Bad news. What
happened?
Broke in the school again over the weekend.
You hadn't put up the grillers yet?
No,
okay.
the grill that I'm making don't finish. But the is the door to the office, I don't finish that one yet because I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
And on the weather, but they're breaking it and do the same thing. They break up the door to the office and
this time they took more things?
There was much things to take, because they didn't replace those fans and computer from the first break-in.
All right. So right away, you know that it's not a very smart person who's breaking into the school, because if you just break in there and take and you don't wait.
Eat and mix stuff on it.
Right. So what about the security system there? Since the school is vulnerable, they don't have a watchman? That's what we used to call them, watchman.
No, they don't have one.
Should they?
They don't have cameras?
They should. No cameras. They should have a watchman.
All right. Sound like your security needs at that school require great attention. And it sounds like he's a very small, petty thief who is just desperate for. So you guys have some humanitarian and security work to do.
Yeah.
Is that the only place? Because usually when that kind of desperation is around, they're taking things from any little thing that is lying down. You begin things. Would there be a pattern? I sound like a police investigator, detective.
If I was a police, I would catch those thieves,
Well, the first thing is you probably would have put a watchman there. So yes.
I will watch for myself.
Well, you would be the watchman. I'm sorry to hear that, my brother, because someone stealing from a school, knowing what the school represents, is never an uplifting thing. But someone having to steal and just take small, useless things, what am I doing with it? Maybe you have drug addicts in the neighborhood?
Yes, yeah.
So maybe it's somebody who is under that kind of pressure.
And influence.
Yeah.
No, you're talking, because I was wondering, when I used to live close to that school in that little area,
and I knew all the thieves, all who would break down plates.
Yes.
You know, even now in my surrounding, I know all the thieves.
Well, you know, one of our callers not so long ago spoke about repeat offenders who are prone to the same kind of offenses too. It's not like today they fight and tomorrow they thief something or, you know, whatever. They do the same things coming out. When in a community you can develop that kind of knowledge under the principles of, you know, reparatory justice and the restorative justice, citizens should come together and address some of those issues, whether it is through practical interventions, if they're stealing out of necessity, if them have mental health issues, whatever it is, so that you can put arrangements in place to care for those in need, cut out the bad behavior, and generally have a better community. Maybe the parents of the school need to get together and just look critically at what is happening, and instead of trying to mount a posse to hunt down somebody and beat them up. You know, you're really looking to see who is it that is suffering or having such needs that they are preying on the school. And thank God they're not trying to go into people's houses. Maybe they're saying, well, this is a school. I'm not likely to meet up on anybody overnight and violence. I'm just thinking out loud with you, my brother, because that's a problem for the community to work on.
Yeah, because that school is the only one that don't have a good fence or any house close by.
Yes.
Or security.
Right.
Santa Cruz all each have about 2 watchmen and
so it's vulnerable.
And all kind of stuff.
Somebody has figured it out. It's vulnerable, and they go back hoping that they'll find something.
Well, the other thing,
yes.
I heard you talking about the government getting who is informing the government. Isn't it Mala Huford?
Oh, you mean legal advice?
No, it's Dr. Dirk McCoy.
Yeah, not her any longer because she has a new ministry. The official government lawyer is Dr. Derek McCoy.
How does a lawyer get their degree or whatever you call it? They do test?
Yes, man. It's just like any other profession. There is a course of study.
Written tests and verbal or
you sit written exams, yes, and for the practice of law there is an advocacy component where you have to do verbal presentations, and also there's a legal aid clinic that's a part of the training where you get to sit with clients and provide advice under supervision. So you're tested in all the ways that would simulate real life experience.
But not all people that pass their test and get their thing remember what to do. Remember everything.
That is true, like in any profession.
Yeah.
That's why you have case law and books you can review what is happening.
But you should always remember, lawyers serve in an advisory capacity, meaning they cannot compel the receiver of the advice to follow it or to accept it. Prime ministers are probably amongst the worst clients you could hope to have because they are such powerful people. You can recommend things to them and they can
overturn it.
Yeah.
Dash it out the door.
They can throw it out the door, as Pastor put it.
Fling it away. Foolishness.
So you never know when you see something taking place on the public stage. You don't know if it is that no advice was given or the advice was rejected. You can't ever know because the confidentiality is such too that the lawyer can't come out and say, "Me did tell him not to do it."
Mm-hmm.
One last thing.
Yes.
I heard on Jerry's program yesterday. He was talking about. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear of that. That those guys that does the poll say Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister is the most popular Prime Minister ever in Jamaica. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't see that.
No.
I did not see that.
Because I was saying, anybody does that poll have to be, I don't know who the questioner asked.
Well, you see,
like,
that is
saying,
what I see on YouTube.
Yeah, but
that Russian.
the most you can do with such a comparison would be to say, look at polls taken over the years that ask the same question about popularity and see who polled the best at a given time. That's the most you could do. You understand what I'm saying, Cruz?
It's like how I see on YouTube, they're saying the Russian soldier running from Ukraine soldier. Come on. Anyway, how would I say?
You too, my brother. Take care. It is entirely possible, that you can look at the polls taken at this time of the term for other prime ministers. Let's say we poll every prime minister after the first 100 days.
And see how they were
and see how
favorability in the public side.
at the time, and that's a useful comparison if you have the data to make it. But you couldn't ask today who is your favorite prime minister of all time, because everybody only know the prime minister of the season. Who would you go to?
And
Somebody who has lived through all prime ministers since.
So we have basically lived through about 4 or 5.
Which are the ones you can remember?
Hugh, Michael.
But at what point you start taking note of them? Because the ones that 70s. I took note of is
70s.
I took note of Siaga.
I took note of Michael.
So, like, you were a little older, so you might have conscious.
Siaga,
but I took note of. I have no recollection of Michael more than as a name.
No.
But I took note of Siaga is the first prime minister I noticed.
Then there was Michael again.
And there was Michael again, but not because it's just a short right.
Then you had PJ.
Then PJ.
Then Bruce.
Portia. Or Portia, Bruce.
Then Portia.
Yeah.
Then Andrew.
Yeah.
So those are, you never know.
Yeah.
As you say, you have to do comparison at.
You just have to look at the numbers
in time.
at different points in time.
I wonder where that poll came from. I never saw that poll. I wonder if it's one of the NNN.
No,
poll.
well, I mean, Bongo Jerry might have summarized it in a particular way, and the listener might have heard it in a particular way. Listen, there are any number of versions to that same story.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I saw here, I saw something about the Minister of Finance. There's a caller on the line. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. All is well with us, African. How are you? Keeping dry?
Yeah, China. My house up a zinc house up is leak sometime.
Okay, but you get to hear the music of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some people like it, and to me, it's kind of frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the pounding rain on a zinc roof. Lord.
Just go and work with it in the car. The better not come it,
And it's keeping you safe.
Mm.
What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, you talk about the Prime Minister them.
Oh, just now.
But me answer, none of them not make one,
I had my first.
You mark hard.
Some get mark, so they mark me too,
Well.
My uniform, my arm.
None of them not make one, Miss Minetti. One of them are crown government, them are fraud.
But African, when you come to the table, I would love to see you at the table negotiating the next move for this country, because we all have to have a mindset of, I'm not going to say compromise, I hate that word. We have to have a mindset of unity.
Mm-hmm.
How do we kind of take a position that is beneficial to the majority of persons? Most times when you speak, you don't leave a lot of room for empathy. You don't leave a lot of room for the next man to say, well, you know what?
Can change.
I can, something can give. But we have to develop that mindset. Because we are called to unify the family around some common ideals that would push us forward. If we're too far apart all the time, then I'm gonna use a word that two of us agree on. Then the oppressor will win because his strategy is to divide and conquer.
And it a work, you know.
So how we gonna neutralize it if we can't moderate our ideals and our arguments so that there is room at the table?
Well, let's see, Miss Minetti.
Yes.
After independence,
yeah,
certain things are supposed to share towards the people that might get independent, you know. The people that might get, who is the people that might get independent in Jamaica?
Everybody was living the mix, but the majority of the people. Hold on, no. You ask a question, and I'm responding to you. So if you have a different opinion, nothing wrong with that, you know. But you say, who are the people got independent? I said everybody, but the majority of the people are black people.
Who name everybody, Reverend?
The mix up. They were Indians, Chinese, everybody, black people in Jamaica. When they talk about independence, yes.
So hold on now, man. The China them are slaves too.
No, you remember, you know, you asked me, it's not emancipation and independence are two different concepts.
Emancipation,
right?
I one where them say you see emancipate yourself from slavery.
Right. So you're talking about that one, not independence.
All right, now go talk about that one there.
Which one? Emancipation?
Emancipation? Yeah, man. Right. So the majority of the people emancipated were black people.
Majority? Yeah. So me also now these people were used to slave in Jamaica. And them get emancipation. What it come with?
But African emancipation was a release from the plantation. You were no longer subjected to forced labor. But I know what is in your thoughts, and I'm thinking on it myself. When the slave master opened the gate and says, you may leave, what does it really give you? Are you getting anything? And is it possible even for another man to emancipate you? Or is emancipation something that you claim for yourself through a process that might involve some sacrifice? Lives were lost in the bid for it, but many persons walked off the plantation not knowing where to go, not really having anything, and the same thing continues. The same bewilderment continues today. So we're talking about two things. One was something that happened by force of law at the Abolition of Slavery Act took place, and it meant that the gates were open and you were free to work, not to work, to go, to stay, whatever. But what holds us in bondage today
mindset
is something of a spiritual, mental nature, which is something that we still have to do for ourselves. So to me, it don't really matter whether the queen come or go. To me, as an individual needing to justify my existence and fight for my family and for what works for me, I have to do that regardless of who is in Jamaica House, what's on the paperwork. I have to do that. That's a personal struggle.
So, Miss Minetti.
Yes.
Emancipation mean nothing then?
You can't say it mean nothing. Are you talking about the Act of Parliament that says slavery is abolished?
Yeah, it means nothing.
No, it means something because it meant that if you chose to walk out, a man couldn't stop you. So it has value, but the value you need for yourself has to come from you.
Walk out, go where, Miss Minetti?
Then if you want to walk out and set up one tent at the gate, set up your tent at the gate.
Miss Minetti?
Yes.
500 years worth of slavery for Jamaica. We work in Jamaica without pay. And the day come now when them say, all right, they're going to stop slave, you know. What it mean, Miss Minetti?
There were free villages. Some of it is historical, you know, African. There were free villages established. The land that the slave owners treasured and coveted were the flat lands on which they were maintaining their estates. When the day of abolition dawned, the slaves took to the hills. That is why we still have freehold communities existing in parts of Jamaica where no light post, not there, no phone company not going there. They took to the hills. All of that was...
Like Sagerville and those places.
Yes.
How the PNP and the GLP get to all of Jamaica?
I'm gonna pose a question to you. Why African don't take hold of Jamaica? Why you African not amongst the leaders of this country? How would you answer that?
Why I don't among the leader?
Why wouldn't you be among the leaders of this country?
Because I don't interested in the crown. Remember, from we get emancipation or independent, the crown, you know, the crown, a slave for 500 years, you know. I hit same way. Them a work on that, you know. Me now work on the crown.
So how are we gonna change it? How are we going to change that? How would we change it? If you, with a good idea and a good perspective on the change that is needed, if you absent yourself from the system, how would you change it?
No, I'm not absent myself from the system.
Yeah, but you say you're not interested in the crown, so you're not play. How are you going to change it if you stay on the outside?
I'm not working under the crown.
But we're not talking about work. We weren't talking about. We're talking about ownership and change.
But everything we're down here at the crown at the head feet.
No.
What down here the crown at head from its minute?
The crown is your head.
Huh?
Does the crown own you?
Yes, Miss Minetti.
Are you kidding me? It don't own me. And maybe that's what need to change. You need to take that limitation off yourself. You need to recognize that if you want to understand then what the Abolition of Slavery Act did, it stopped the crown from owning you.
No, Miss Minetti, that is a trick. That is a trick.
So you want to stay on the plantation?
What, I'm still on the plantation?
I am not.
You know, they're on the plantation, Baba.
Huh?
I am not.
Jamaica is a plantation owned by the Queen.
Not the piece that I live on.
Huh?
Not the piece that I live on.
What you talking about? You deny what the real fuck of the thing. We have a king's house in Jamaica.
I am, listen, African. I am not condemning myself to a life of servitude, to an idea that I can reject, dismiss, fight against, and change in the ways that I can. And you need to come on board with that. As long as you think they own you, they own you.
You can't do anything. You're locked in that. You're locked in that, African.
Miss Minetti.
So when we're talking about the mindset change.
The Queen paid the slave master for we, you know. She buy we back in here, remember?
She did?
Well, she dead now, so you follow her down.
She sell we first, and then she buy we back, you know.
That's why that didn't happen to me. And if you think that happened to you, then that's a part of why you're stuck in that place, in that mindset.
I don't think. I'm not thinking this is the logics of what happened.
Not mine. Not mine. That's not mine.
Logic, my brother.
That's not mine.
The Queen sell we in Jamaica, and then she come back and pay back for we, pay back the slave master them, and we didn't get anything.
If
nothing we get.
If you believe that, then you're gonna have to go follow the Queen.
We're talking about belief, Miss Milton, and something happened. The Queen will come pay the slave master them.
African.
Reverend, the Queen pay the slave master them.
African.
The Queen compensated the slave owners to leave the people that were enslaved. She compensated them to give up their rights to continue slavery.
That's what happened.
Give up. Who for rights to give up?
Their rights. The same persons that came to Jamaica under her name, under her watch, and established an economy that was putting wealth in their society, she compensated them to step away.
Why she compensate them?
That's not my business. Why she compensate them? Because she didn't have to.
Well, Miss Minette, me come to this, say, the Queen buy way back from them.
All right. So if you think
and the GLP.
So if you think that the Queen, no, don't leave that alone. Follow it to the logic conclusion. If you think that the Queen owns you, what are you doing about it?
I want to get her off from my back, you know.
So how do you do that?
Well, she dead.
The PNP and the GLP, we have to get rid of the
All right.
PNP and the GLP.
African, we have another call coming, so we're going to have to take this up another morning.
All right.
All right.
Miss Minette, one more thing, please.
No, man.
No, man, we have another caller who's been waiting.
Just one more thing.
Say it very quickly then. Say it.
Jamaica are running, the economy where Jamaica are running, it is a service economy.
No, we can't do this question and answer.
question.
Just make your point. Make your point,
The
African.
economy of Jamaica right now, it is a service economy.
Okay.
We serve the tourists, the BPO, service. Do what, Miss Minette?
Yeah, but you know that it's better to have a service economy because you can serve as many markets as come to you.
No, the same serving, Miss Minette.
All right, we're gone.
And I'm not different.
We're gone. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, God save the Queen.
For you, apparently.
For her eras and on the throne, yes.
You're an African. Still a hold on to the Queen and she dead and gone.
Yeah.
I know you're not holding on to her. I'm just teasing you.
When the Queen died, I heard the Prime Minister say, listen, we have to change everything. We're not going to say, all right, we're going to say, His Majesty.
Yes.
When they go to court, that is really, you going to say you break where you change up. We're not going to say her, we're going to say him. So we're going to say, oh yeah, God save the Queen. Who say anything to say no for all your police. Oh yeah, we have to say, oh yeah, God save the King. Trust me, I don't know where we're going. They're talking about breaking them and they're still practicing these things just the same. And I'm just looking at it. What our leaders are doing, what direction are they are putting us in.
Yeah.
It is very terrible. I know there's a lot of problems going on with the member of parliament. Them people have been trying to get them. They're not turning up. They're not doing anything for the community. And what I know about member of parliament, I know that none of them get in the office, so they're not come back to the place after the next 5 years. From 1970 to 2022, Jamaica people not learn? Huh? Jamaica people not learn?
Oh, my brother. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress from the time they made him and say, listen to me, it is your constitutional right to vote. But if you go into politics now, as a gentleman said he went, with Marcus Garvey thing, and people say, boy, I have to go spend money, I have to spend money, I have to do this and that. He never knows how to it run. So he just come back out of it. You understand me? Because no one knows how to go and do all of these type of things to win vote. So I want to know what direction this country is going. You want to break away from the Queen? The Queen dead now, you're going to say him no. We need to break away. Now is the right time to. And some people still sitting down. So what are those Commonwealth people, them know country, them have they're on them queue and they know them have to open them eyes enough to hear what next. You understand me? You were talking about something about the Chinese if they were enslaved?
Who asked that?
No, man. He asked a question. He was emancipated or made independent. So I was trying to clarify what he meant. What he meant by.
Well, the Chinese were
indentured
enslaved by the Japanese.
Okay.
No, he meant in Jamaica.
And after a while,
yeah, he meant in Jamaica. Yeah, he meant in Jamaica when slavery was abolished in Jamaica, or when independence was conferred. who are the people who benefited? Did it include, Pastor said it was a mixed multitude.
I just look around and I just see things and I just, but I ask some more questions because I see where we are now. The police force, 1836, the Queen, see superintendent within Crown,
931.
the commissioner want the Crown.
Oh, George, I'm so sorry. I get the signal. It's 9:31. We have to take a house break.
All right.
Station break. Hold on first, please. Yeah.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, live a bank or low line area, if you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and a sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The Aeronautical School of the West Indies presents Squawk 876, a fun and informative program where you will learn about flying, aircraft systems, weather, maintenance, and much more. Tune in to Best 100 FM this and every Wednesday at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Vegam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vegam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, caller. George, still there? It's gone.
We really need a change in this country, and we want to know who's going to make the change and how we're going to do it. And who are the leaders who are going to come together and make a change in this country. We want to know who are the people. I'm on board a long time. I just want to know who is going to come on board also to make this change.
Well,
make Jamaica to be a better place.
The agents for change are many and varied, and
that's true.
We each person have different roles, so we are doing a part of activating people and shining a light on things because we have an obligation to expose the acts that are being committed in the dark. To quote scripture on you. So we are doing our part. So we're on board too. African has always called and taken a certain line with us. This morning I was surprised to hear that he is of the belief that when the slave owners got compensation for letting go of their property, that he sees it as the Queen buying us or buying back the people. I won't say us because I'm not included in that. But that's a mindset that we also have to break free of. This sense that somehow we have that kind of connection to the English people. We are free, born free people, and even if those who have the chains of command, even if those who are holding, I use the word chain, even if those who are holding it are abusing their authority in a way to make it look like we're not free, we must know that we are free, and then we must exercise the authority of free men. That is critical.
That is true. That is true. That is so. That is so. Pastor, you're talk no man when I left you.
No, but but the whole thing of change, I think we take personal responsibility to change. One man says, be the change you want to see in the world, and if we are changing our mindsets or our attitudes and beginning to act in the authority that we have individually, the change will happen, Because George, if you in your corner does that and people close to you begin to say, but I have a freedom to act and live in a righteous way, you know that it becomes a snowball effect. And if there's corruption within your community and the people say, no, we're not standing fight, the change happens. Because we understand what corruption is. And that is what we're calling for people to take personal responsibility, to understand that they have individual authority to begin to act on their own behalf and to change your mindset.
The next thing, I'm not finished up with this. No, the Maroon, having problem with them land and with the Prime Minister and other entity. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And I get to understand they are the one who catch a slave and them over to the British. And I don't feel good about that.
Well, that's something that we have to let go of.
So let me ask you this, George. As a man standing in today's world, would you stand by and see our own Prime Minister abuse and prejudice the Maroons in the enjoyment of the land they have occupied for over 200 and odd years because of a report that 200 and odd years ago they caught and returned slaves to slave owners? Would you stand and see?
Yes, some of those they were killed. Yeah. They were murdered. Yeah. All of them were hung.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, would you stand up today and see our own administration prejudice somebody because of a 280-odd-year-old crime?
I could not speak for the Prime Minister.
May I ask you if you, as a citizen...
I could speak for myself.
Yes, that's what I'm asking you to speak for.
Yes, I'm saying.
You're saying yes.
The atrocity that they have done is wicked because that would be my grandmother and my four parents.
Right.
And I come to understand what they have done.
And so what?
It's a wrong thing.
And so what? Today you're saying punish the man who is standing in a compound today?
If I say punish him?
Yeah, that's what I ask you.
What are we going to do?
No, but he needs to...
He needs to do what?
To apologize to the people.
Me not quite understand. No, I don't understand that. You're saying...
Yeah, I want them. All right. Since you know your history, I know you have become the third and the fourth leader. And you know what you have done, that you have captured all of these slaves and them over to the British, and they were killed. For the third generation, come and say this. No, make an apology.
And if he does not apologize, his land must be taken from him today?
I'm just saying, listen my word, clearly.
But I want you to answer me, George. Don't repeat.
Apologize to the Jamaican people.
Or else what?
That was very terrible.
Or else what? Or else what?
No, I'm not going to say else what.
Oh, okay.
They have to live with it because they are having problems up there with themselves up there. And the Jamaican people know the story about it.
All right.
So all we just need is an apology. We're not going to go attack them.
I hope, if you're still listening, George, I think I understand better what you're saying. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Pastor.
How you do?
I'm going to relate a story to you before I make my point.
Yes, relate the story.
Yeah, man. I was working with a company, see, and that company,
that shift workers.
Yes.
It's a big company. So what happens is that the shift workers, when they come to work in the morning, they go to the canteen and order their lunch.
Yes.
And they have a van that carry on the lunch to them. And, you know, they didn't have to come to the canteen like the rest of workers. Now, the van that was carrying the lunch was, when I look at it, because I used to work in the department that used to work on those, and the vehicles. And the van was filthy, smelled bad. And they still carry the lunch in there. So one day, while a group of workers was there, I said to the workers, if I was a company, I'd get rid of this van and I'd get a mule cart with a mule, and I make sure the mule eats some, you know, the animal eat the young grass and then belly run.
Yes, yes.
And I make it the mule, while I drive the mule, I carry the lunch, the mule belly run and I mess up the thing. And, you know, so because I said to them, say, if we not take on lunch out of something like this, all the things smell bad and thing, and accept it, then the company, my would spend no money buying nothing. I'm going to get a whole mule or something like that. I don't know, you know what did to the workers?
What?
Everybody said them now take them lunch out of that, you know.
Yes.
You know what? You know what? I had to carry the lunch. They never had no vehicle. The general manager Volvo they use and carry the lunch so give people, you know.
Okay.
So sometimes, I know my lady don't like when I talk sometimes because some of the things that I say. But I am here I want to shock the Jamaican people, you know.
To say that time for stand up, time come.
Yes, man. I want to shock them. When I with some of the things they say, because too much they are falling into this Stockholm syndrome. And because of that, no, them not doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. We shouldn't be here at 60 days talking about Queen and King.
Okay.
I agree with you on that one.
We should never.
It just, you know, somebody online here just shared with me that the king has now revealed his logo. It's a crown above his initial.
It is time now. We can't be talking about the people will come around. We have to shock the people them to come around.
Yeah.
Something needs to be done to shock the people that they come around. We can't wait another 60 days. I'm impatient. I'm soon dead, you know. I am impatient.
And you'd like to see some shift before you go.
I want to see this thing completed before I die.
Correct.
Brace yourself, my brother. It might not be completed, but still do your best.
Still fight.
Yeah, man. Another thing again we want to talk about is that I see them build a police station in and the thing no we are such a joke as a what, because that era is prone to flooding, you know. It's not now that era flooding, you know.
Hello.
And the man take up $70 million go build a police. Who can be held accountable for them things?
Boy, better know first you have to swim across them. I said Pastor have it here.
Now they are saying in order to correct that problem, they have to spend about $270 million.
I mean, man, that's the problem more expensive than the building that is sitting there. They might as well float the building and just let it.
Why
things make it happen, like
no, man, these guys, man, me tell you, man.
Enlighten.
Incompetent, that is I saw them, I tell you, man.
Enlighten. But listen to this now. I was just commenting. You have a place called Big Pan in Bannister. You as an older person know, I tell people all the time, you know, if you're old people, call a place a certain name, you know. It means something was there before. And when I saw it, I know I got to up to the funeral Dovecot and so on. And I'm saying, why then build the police station in a place that normally catch water? Me see it now, me say it's like
it's like what you're looking there with the police station.
A blind man that have any sense at all would have to say that you shouldn't build a police station there. So.
Yeah.
Brian, my brother.
That one is out.
And the people take $70 million. And that money, you know, I think it's out of the housing trust it come from, you know.
Aye, my brother.
And the housing trust was designed to build a support for are the working people, you know. And they're wasting the money and build a station like that. They might have to abandon it.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Thanks for your contribution. We have another caller waiting before
All right,
we bless
All
you.
right, sir. Take care. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Oh, blessed morning. How are you?
Good morning. We're well.
My first question, who were we before we became Jamaicans? And who gave us that tag, Jamaicans?
So deal with the who were we.
Say that again?
No, I thought you were going to start by addressing who we were before we acquired the descriptor, because the country named Jamaica and the people who on the land get called Jamaicans. Who are we?
We were African slave children.
Well,
did you know?
Yes.
Did you know that the Queen got Jamaica, this island, for her 16th birthday present from her dad?
Yeah, the land. Yes, the country.
The whole country is hers?
The country.
Yeah, she got it for her 16th birthday present, and all the names of the parishes are names of English families.
Yes.
Remember, they were all pens before.
Yes.
They didn't check out the pen, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
And the same thing. So we still, no matter how, if you are taken to a jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how you put carpet in a jail and curtain and twin bed, we're still in jail.
Mm-hmm. But are you're gonna step into the mind of the prisoners whose mind could not be contained by the prisoners, by the prison?
You can't imprison your mind.
Okay.
You can't imprison the temple.
So you're going back to the who we are, because there's the physical self, the body that can decay and die. And there is the spiritual self that cannot be contained or imprisoned. And the whole talk about emancipation and independence, if we confine our consideration of it to the physical self, we will be frustrated, because there are some things which you cannot escape by reason of your size, your age, your gender, your situation.
Yeah, but how can you be independent in a next man country?
Because who you are in truth, in reality, in spirit, cannot be owned or contained by any man's country. It is why we speak freely. It's why we explore certain freedoms that cannot be contained or limited or restricted or taken away. No matter what your circumstances are, there is somebody with more money, less money, bigger house, smaller house, bigger feet, bigger body, sexier body, fitter body, stronger, weaker. In your physical being, there are limitations which you may never be able to change. Yet you cannot allow those limitations to restrict you in your growth and your imagination and how you push yourself forward.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I am not restricting it. When the Majesty came here in 1966, he gave the head of our church embassy status.
Yes.
It is actually an Ethiopia embassy.
Yes.
Understand?
So
but
how was that served? How was that served? I'm pushing you a little bit.
Let me finish.
Yes.
International protocol dictates that you have to give it to the head of the country, which was the CM Jamaica Labour Party.
Right.
It was Hugh Lassie was then External Affairs Minister.
Yes.
It was then External Affairs, Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Yes.
Right. Hector Winter and was supposed to publish it because they were there.
Yes.
What it was, they were supposed to give the share was supposed to receive.
All right, you have to go rush it for me because we're close to the end of the program.
And I understand.
So cut to the chase.
They were not supposed to announce it to the world and bring it up to him, right? Because we are Ethiopians, and this embassy was set to do so. Understand? And you can't be independent of a system. I remember them same one they cut when children are in Port Royal, a little girl pregnant. They would have bust her belly if it's a boy or a girl. And them same one in the Empress. We have to say you can't.
All right, we're gonna have to pick this up. I want us to pick this up tomorrow because what you're saying can't be rushed.
Yes.
Yeah, what you're saying can't be rushed, and the hour draws late. Yes, thank you, my brother.
And as we comment, as we bring
So we want to do the wrap up and give the producer his opportunity to speak.
No, but somebody commenting online that an engineer told the NHD and the government build a drain before you build a police station online.
But they ignored the order, and today we have a floating police station. Well, it's not floating yet, but it will. It will. We take bad things, make jokes, because it floats on our dime.
No, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Producer, you're joining us for the wrap up.
Oh my Lord!
What can I tell you? A very interesting morning. I listened to Africa, and I've been listening to the Brethren a while ago. And the song that came to mind was Redemption Song.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have enslaved ourselves mentally. Even when our captors have
walked
long
away.
gone.
Run gone,
We are
Yeah.
still here enslaved. Even when you move the fence, you're still sitting in the same spot. And we need to change it. Come on. We need to change it. Here we are. A lot of us, we are born, bred here, right? This place is what? 90% from
80%
black people. This is our country. Yeah? And it's full time we just take responsibility and just release ourselves from the mental slavery.
Yeah.
Come on, folks.
And it is not necessary for the man who enslaved you to say you're free to go.
Yes.
It is not necessary. Even what my brother George was saying about the Maroons of today. I don't care that the treaty says they were supposed to do a certain thing. Whether they did it or they didn't is of no moment to me. In my time, standing here, I will not see them be abused. And they certainly won't be abused in my name. No one standing or speaking for me can say it is for the good of Minette and her family that I am going to steal your land, abuse your own people, and contaminate the waterways and the environment. No, not in my name. Not in my name. And they don't need to apologize to me to say it. Don't matter to me that one day they did what might have been a necessity to get their treaty going. Whether they acted in it or not matters not to me. It's no excuse. I need no apology from a single person from the Maroon community.
Yeah, so that is.
But we cannot condone. We cannot condone abuse in our time because we might say they were once our enemies. No.
But to sum it up, what I am saying to myself, what it is that faces us, what do we need to do? What do we need to take responsibility for? The great prophet said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. And it begins in the mind and the spirit for you to be free and liberated.
Yeah. Because you know that your body can be trapped, whether it is by sickness, by old age, by any form of restriction, but your mind is free to contribute and to build.
See, we have real problems. We have a government that is not treating right with the people. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Come on. Anyway.
So what we're leaving ourselves. It sounds like Redemption Song. It's the goodbye song.
Definitely.
All right. Let me say the thank yous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pastor Percival, thank you very much for the contribution this morning. Those on air, those online, the producer, everything that has made this show thought-provoking this morning. It ended up in a talk about emancipation and freedom, that you can be given it on paper. People can speak it. The truth is, I don't want it on paper. I got to get it in my own head. I got to give it to myself. I need no permission to enjoy my God-given rights.
And freedoms.
And freedoms. Listen to me. So let's hope that something we have said this morning has resonated well with you. And even as we face some very challenging times, the infrastructure is going to be fighting us. Cost of living continues to be challenging. But somehow in all of that, we have to join hearts and hands and stay alive, because ultimately that's the challenge. You only lose when you die. And unless you have set yourself in a position for death to be the gateway to the ultimate prize, you're in problems. So just stay alive until you have centered yourself on the winning side. At which point, when your purpose is finished, you can walk good.
And don't buck it up.
Have a great day.